Welcome to Love to See It, a podcast about the couple's trip from hell.
Yes, we are up to episodes 16 to 18 of Married at First Sight, season 20, and we're right at the precipice of decision day. And I am at the precipice of losing my voice. So if you hear uh, this person in your headphones, like, who is this? It's me, Lee.
Yeah. Poor Lee, I feel so bad. I'm going to try to do even more of the talking than I usually do. I know that I'm like an airtime hog as it is.
No,
So
you're perfect.
I'm going to just periodically, I was saying, I'm just going to be like, don't worry, guys, Lee's still here. She's resting her vocal cords.
This is how they all sounded after the couples retreat. Absolutely.
I can only imagine, like, Adam and Marissa were surely not the only ones who were bedridden for a few days after the couples retreat because that looked extremely taxing. First, a little housekeeping. If you've missed our earlier coverage of Married at First Sight and our special bonus episode about Let's Marry Harry, just scroll back in the feed. It's all there. We will be covering Love is Blind UK on Love to See It after Married at First Sight wraps up. I am actually very frustrated and upset to be missing the in real time coverage right now, but we don't have space in our
There's too much
schedule right
happening in
now.
these next 2 weeks. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's everything ends up concentrated at certain times, but we are going to be covering Love is Blind UK soon, so check back in a couple weeks, and we will be commencing our coverage then. Rich Text is now on Patreon, as you surely know, and our latest episode is actually Emma's first episode back on Rich Text. She's coming back a little sooner to Patreon than she is on the main feed. So for our first episode with her back at the mic, I talked to Emma about her birth story and what it's like to give birth in America and how radicalizing it is. We had a lot of very raw and personal and angry and emotional moments, but it's also a really lovely story. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can check that out at patreon.com/richtext.
Yeah, I'm so happy she's back there.
Me too. I miss Emma a lot, and also it's such a treat to get to talk to other people that I normally don't get to talk to, but I was like, this feels very homey to have Emma
Yeah,
back at
and
the
you have the
mic.
both of us. Now you have Emma there, me here.
I know. I'm living the polyamorous dream that is also at the root of so many reality dating shows, let's
Mhm.
be honest. But not this one, although I think that certain
Kind of,
people like
almost.
Mecca and Caitlin would love for this to be more of a polyamorous dream.
That was an interesting, switch up, but we'll get there.
Yeah, this batch of episodes really opened up some whole new avenues,
Yeah,
boulevards
because we got to see the
of
couples, like, more
investigation.
in, like, they were secluded together instead of
Mhm.
just at these therapy sessions, where you got to see more of their dynamic as a group, which was very
Yeah.
interesting.
There are things people will feel comfortable doing with other people's husbands and wives at a couples retreat at 2 a.m. that they might not feel comfortable doing at a dinner or a
Mhm.
couples therapy session.
Or
So
with their
that
own
was
couple, you know?
Oh boy. So, episode 16, it's 1 week until decision day. And we had left off at a couple's dinner that got pretty rowdy, and the fallout is continuing. If you recall, Felipe had taken a lot of heat at the dinner, and Tori just sort of let him take it. And back at home, he is again sort of chiding her for not having his back to the group, sort of suggesting that she's not a very good wife for being so willing to let him take his lashes. He's like, maybe you just thought I needed punishment from the group.
Yeah,
And so
he's like,
that's
"You
why you
should be
didn't defend me.
standing up for me. That's what wives do." It's like, "No, Felipe. Are you ever gonna learn that maybe you should just be quiet at these group dinners?"
Yeah, like you should be grateful that she's still sitting there next to you while you take your
Mhm.
lashings on this. Tori says to him accurately that this all started because of how he was talking crazy about her at a group dinner. She's like, "You blindsided me talking about me in this way in front of the group, and I even stuck up for you then." The other women actually checked in with me and asked, like, why were you sticking up for him? Are you okay?" And she's like, "I'm just not gonna do that anymore. I think you have to figure your own things out because you can only be considerate for so long without being considered."
Mhm.
And Felipe is like, "Yeah, okay, I just think that we should still act like partners with your if we're partners, but that's just me, I guess." Okay.
Okay. Yeah,
O
sure, Felipe, because he's been
okay.
such a good partner.
And partners get up in front of the group and say, "I wanna have sex with other women, and I'm
Other
really gonna
partners,
miss
yeah.
that." Yeah. Belgely is also furious at Mecca because, of course, during this group dinner, he told the whole group that he was not attracted to her when he first saw her, unbeknownst to her. And then he told her in a side comment that he didn't think she was pretty enough for him.
Yeah.
And now that they're home, he's all over her. He won't leave her alone. He's like, "Are you upset? Can you talk to me? Just talk to me about it. What's going on?" And she's even more pissed about this because she wants space to process. So she's basically giving him the cold shoulder.
As he deserves, because he basically
Yeah.
doesn't remember that he said anything bad. He's like, "What? You're come on." Like,
I feel like he's playing dumb because he does this thing that I think is rooted in his insecurity that goes all the way back to when she didn't kiss him at the altar, where he's like, "How much does she care? If I test her, if I neg her, if I push her away, is she gonna have a reaction to that?" And then he wants to kind of mine that reaction for his own emotional reassurance and benefit, and she's not giving him that right now. She's not talking about how much he hurt her because she really cares about him and she's so attracted to him, and she's not feeding his ego with this, so he's just, like, hungry for more
he's like,
engagement.
"More."
More. Uh, the couples have some downtime, we see some cute moments. Michelle makes Rice Krispie treats, and apparently Cam grades her foods that she prepares, which I don't love.
No.
I don't
And
think that's a cute bit for men to grade women's food.
yeah, he's like, "Is this baking? Did you put it in the oven?
Did you bake
Did
it,
you bake?"
Cam?
Yeah.
How about shut up? Devin goes to the gym with Felipe and complains about how confused he is about Caitlin's desires because they haven't kissed since early Cancun, early in the honeymoon,
Which
but he still
surprised me,
thinks
to
it's
be
worth
honest. I
trying.
was like, "You guys haven't even
Yeah.
kissed?" Like, I would assume they were
That
at least kissing.
that did surprise me. I feel like they actually hardly ever see each other,
Yeah.
given what we've heard about their differing schedules and how busy she is. And then they were negotiating the couch cuddling, like, "Oh, can I just put my legs over your legs?" I'm like, in retrospect, I guess it makes
Makes
sense.
sense that they weren't kissing. But yeah, that did I was like, "Wow, that's a long
Yeah.
time ago, you guys." No wonder you're not really connecting on any sort of level.
And we get a scene where Nikki is doing a little video diary and she tells the camera that Shawn told her she's a Seattle 10, but she's only a New York 7.
Yeah.
Now, I would be really flattered if a man told me I was a New York 7, but Nikki's, she's a hot lady. She's good looking. She takes care of herself. She dresses well. So I could understand expecting a higher score.
She was like, "I am definitely a 10 in Seattle and a 10.5 in New York."
Even better in New York. I mean, I'm obviously I'm being a little facetious here. There's no world in which you should be rating your partner's looks on a 10-point
No.
scale.
Which all the
Espe
women, like, eventually tell her, like, "Who does Shawn think he is? He thinks he's a 10." Yes,
Right.
he does.
I mean, or at least he thinks, like, she should understand that we're both 7s. Like, that's maybe the most generous interpretation. I I just you're never gonna win me over by trying to put your wife in her place by whipping out on a 10-point attractiveness scale,
No.
which is dehumanizing and is often used in this way to kind of indicate to women how much value they actually have socially. Like,
Mhm.
"Oh, you think so highly of yourself or you're actually a 4." Like, "Okay,
It's
okay, what?"
he just has this, like, business angle always. Or it's like, the
Yeah.
chart in the doctor's office where he's like, "How much pain are you in?" "Well, this is how hot you are in terms of my chart."
It's the turn the frown upside down. He's
Yeah.
like, "How big am I smiling when I see you in your
Eh,
bathrobe?"
it's a squint, you know? But in Seattle, you're a full-blown smile, but in New
Full
York,
grin,
you're like a grimace.
big toothy grin. Then we have a scene with, Nikki and Shawn where they clearly were like, "What are we gonna do for your scene today?" And she says, "Oh, I'll make my mom's mac and cheese." Because it's like, as far as I can tell from the kitchen clock, it's like 11 in the morning, and she has gotten everything in the pantry out on the counter to make mac and cheese in the middle of the day. And it's the most lackadaisical and disorganized process I've ever seen Nikki engage in. Like, she's so buttoned up, she's so put together, everything is planned out. She can't turn on the oven. She she doesn't have a recipe, it
Mhm.
seems, and she doesn't call her mom for directions until after the pasta is fully cooked.
Yeah, which you're supposed to, like, make, I think, like a roux of sorts, and then you need the pasta to be warm for the butter
Yeah.
and the cheese to kinda go in there, but now the pasta's been sitting on the countertop, just completely cooled down.
Yeah, she's calling her mom, and her mom's like, "Well, the pasta should be hot," and she looks at the cold, congealed lump of pasta, like, "The first thing you did was cook the pasta? That takes 10 minutes." So, there's a bit of a Lucille Ball element
Mhm.
to this whole scene, but she does have her mom on the phone to, help her with the recipe, and she has Shawn say hi. Shawn says that he's taking good care of her daughter by opening the car door and giving her his credit card for groceries, and her mom sounds pretty skeptical.
Yeah, like that, why would he say that? It was so but I'm treating her well. I let her use my credit card for purchases.
That was one of those moments that almost seems like a passive aggressive dig that he does. It's sort of like, "Oh, well, I know what the expectations are,
Yeah.
like, I guess I have to pay for
I'm
everything,"
like,
you
I
know?
think she has her own money and she's
Yeah.
happy to use it. Like, I don't think she needs your money, Shawn.
And then they sit down for some mac and cheese, and he tells the camera that it came out okay, which is better than terrible.
Again, rating not only her face, but her food.
Yeah. She's not scoring 10s across the board, but at least she's better than terrible. Mecca and Belle, what are they up to? Well, they still have to work through her bad feelings about the group dinner comment. And we see them spend some time in the hot tub, and she tells him how hurt she was by what he said, and she quotes him exactly. I was actually shocked because it's hard to remember the exact words someone uses in the moment. I often have to rewatch many times just
Yeah.
to get.
So imagine your real life. You can't rewind. You're just like, but it clearly stuck with her, and it stuck with
Yeah.
me too. That was pretty like, you're not pretty enough for me.
Well, he really shot himself in the foot because he made a little almost a skit out of it with the way he reenacted his internal dialogue and the little head shake with the comical expression. Like, he made it a very memorable,
Yeah.
like, quote, but it's seared into her memory, and he denies it.
Yes. And this reminded me of, like, when Shawn denies things to Nikki. I was just
Yeah.
like, "You said this, though." Like, very clearly, you cannot deny it. And I think he starts to realize, "Did I say that? Maybe I did."
Yeah, and he has this constant issue where his self-conception is kind of warring with the facts on the ground, where he's always like, "I don't think that I'm the kind of person who would do these things, so it's really strange that I would do them and that I did them. In fact, it's really not me." And in this moment, he's like, "I don't think I would say that. Like, I think I would say to me, like,
Mhm.
she's not pretty enough to
To
me,"
me. Which
which
it wouldn't be
also
good either, Mecca.
also would be bad, rude thing to say in that way. But also is a weird formulation. I've never heard someone say, "She's not pretty enough to me.
Yeah.
She's not my type."
No, because he started to realize, he's like, "I
Would be
definitely
more.
said that, but I'm gonna try to make sure that I, like, come off like I didn't say it or I
Yeah.
meant it in a different way.
Maybe I am on camera saying that, but please don't judge me by that. That's
I
not
meant to
something.
me."
He's like, "Well, that makes it a whole different kind of comment
Yeah.
if I said for me." And she's like, "Yeah, that's exactly why I was so upset." And he finally accepts that he must have said this and he apologizes. He says that was disrespectful and rude. And that person who said that to her was really out of pocket saying that. And he's like, "Now that you're saying this, it is, like, reminding me that I did say that." She's like, "This is not the first time you've made a comment like this, and it's really tough on me." And he gets very downcast and says he knows he's better than that, so it's disappointing that it keeps happening. And then we see a producer ask him if he's self-sabotaging, and he's like, "Yeah, I think I am."
Yes, I think so too, Mecca.
I think he probably is because I think that this is how he has learned to cope with a lifetime of, like, rejection and poor parenting,
Mhm.
and it is, like, a pattern that you see of kids who have been abandoned or mistreated that you want to test people by pushing them away, and I think he's especially activated by this feeling that Belle isn't that into him because she didn't kiss him at the altar, and so he's really just been, like, on
But,
overdrive doing
yeah,
this.
but how do you feel about the fact that it seems to be at, like, the group dinners or the group therapy
Yeah.
sessions where he's, like, putting on a show or he feels like he has to
Yeah.
say things that I don't know if he would have ever brought that up to Belle, like, just sitting on the couch being like, "I think you're pretty, but you're not pretty enough for me."
He did tell her just sitting in bed alone that he thought she was more attracted to him than he was
That's
to
true.
her. But I do think there is an element that plays into this where he wants to be seen as being more desirable and as having the upper hand. So I think you're onto something there too. I think that that's part of it. And of course, now he's self-flagellating and he's sad and he's like, it's so strange how I keep doing these things that are completely out of character for me somehow. And Belle is left sort of on her own, just trying to figure out how she can move past this. She's like, I can't unhear it. I can't unknow that he felt this way. So what's next? And now it's time for the couples retreat. So Marissa is really excited to bond more deeply with the other couples, and Adam is excited to find a nearby pickleball court and cook some kids in
Yeah,
pickleball.
yeah. So compatible, these 2. Marissa can't wait to just, like, be away from Adam and have some wine with the girls.
I know. I think she's also on some level, I was wondering if she's hoping that being around the other couples will bring out that side of Adam because everyone's just gonna be sitting around and talking about relationships. Maybe he'll be a little bit more serious for a
Mhm.
change instead of making her play pickleball, and he's like, "Nope, I am gonna
No,
find
I'm gonna
pickleball."
find the pickleball.
Cam says that he and Michelle are bringing popcorn so they can sit back and watch the fireworks. They are really losing the audience with this kinda shit.
Mhm. They're being a little smug. They're being a little too confident for me. Like, and I feel like they're like the parents in the room, like, they're just judging everybody or, um, it's a little icky to me. I did love them for a
Yeah.
while, but this episode, I was a little
Yeah, and I think then it draws the scrutiny on them in a way that is a little unfair because I've seen a lot of criticism that's, like, similar to what Shawn later says, which is, well, they're just glossing over their issues, like, they're not actually what each other wants, and they're just overlooking it so that they can feel like they're a good couple. I think they're actually having some tough conversations and compromising, and that's a good thing. I don't think that's a sign of dysfunction, but when you act that smug, people wanna poke a hole in it.
yeah.
Just be focused on working through your issues and not
Ex
being messy.
exactly, and I love them together. I think they're totally for each other, but yeah, all this, like, kind of the popcorn and the watching the other couples fall
Yeah.
apart.
It makes people wanna bring you down a peg a
Yeah.
little bit. Caitlin has decided it's time for her and Devin to break up or hook up, so she's trying to touch him more and be flirtier so that he will initiate, and I bet that's gonna go
Real
amazing for her.
well. Mhm.
Tori drives herself and Felipe to the house in what is apparently, like, her old car from, like, college. She was posting about it on Threads, and the engine starts smoking. They
Yeah.
literally break down by the side of the road. She's, like, calling, I don't know, like, the AAA or the tow or whatever, trying to figure this out, and Felipe is just there in his tank top, chilling in the passenger seat, like, patting her knee,
Yeah, doing nothing.
And, like, maybe there wasn't that much for him to do since it's her car and she's driving, but it's clear that Tori is looking for him to kind of prove himself. She's expressed this in the past. She's like, "I need you to show me that you're really choosing me and that you're gonna make my life better." And is sitting here waiting for me to take care of things while you rub my knee
Helpful.
that?
She wants him to hop out, like, open the hood and be like, "Let's investigate a little bit. Let's make sure maybe we could fix this as ourselves," you know?
Yeah, she wants him to take some initiative. She wants him to be like, "Yeah, I could fix a car. It looks easy." I like maybe it's unreasonable because in this situation, maybe there's nothing he could have really done, but like, did he call for a car to come get them? Like, was he helping her with ideas for what to do? It just kind of seems like he defaults to this mode where he's like, well, I'm just the arm candy. I'm just gonna
Mhm.
sit here and look pretty because that's all I know how to do. And look at you, babe. Like you're so on top of this. And she doesn't find that charming. She
No.
wants a guy who's actually gonna get in there in the muck with her.
Well, he's used to mommy taking care of, all of his things, so
Exactly.
he wants Tori to do the same, or he at least expects that's, what wives
Yeah.
do is take care of all the auto, which is so funny because I just had a little argument with my husband over, like, "Can you just handle the car stuff, like, change the oil and get the inspection? Because I can't keep track of it, and I don't really wanna do it." And then I watched the scene, and I was like, "See? Tori
Yeah.
gets me."
The car is like the trash. It's a traditional small item that the man is expected in a heteronormative household to handle. And it's one of those moments where you're just like, "Oh, are the fruits of pushing for egalitarian couples that men are like, "Oh, that means I don't have to do anything
Yeah.
because 'cause you're gonna also do the traditional manly stuff." And it's like, "No, that already wasn't enough."
Yeah, it's
Like,
like I could do it. I could go get an oil change. I just don't really
sure.
want to. I got other things to do.
You got a lot of stuff on your plate, and,
Mhm.
everyone can divide those duties in the way that they want. I think this is more of an attitude thing with Felipe where, yes, he's used to his mom taking care of stuff, and he can pay his mom in adorableness. Like, he can just be like, "Oh, mom, you're
I
the
love
best," and
you.
flash her a big smile, and she's like, "Oh, I love taking care of my baby boy." Tori doesn't wanna do that
No.
shit. And, like, he literally says when she brings up shopping for a new car, he's like, "Well, you know about more about cars than I do, so I'll just be the eye candy." And she's like,
She's like, "I wanna be the eye candy.
"Yeah,
I don't want my car to be the eye candy."
I
Gosh,
don't
Felipe.
want I don't want my husband to be the eye candy while I take care of everything. I wanna be the eye candy sometimes." In the car, while Shawn and Nikki are driving to the retreat, he then offers his read on Michelle, which I think is both accurate and a little unfair. He says that their issue is that she's doing what she's done in past relationships, which is accepting what the guy's offering, even though it's not what she wanted. Cam's income and stability level and so on aren't what she asked for. He's like, they're avoiding the issue and it's going to come back to bite them at some point.
Hmm. Listen, I don't know if I, like, agree or disagree with this. I think she, like, kinda knows what she's getting herself into because they
Mm,
did discuss salary and such, and Cam has been honest with her, like, "I do not make what you wanted when we first signed up for this experiment," but I think she, like, likes him more, and I think she
yeah.
makes good money, so or maybe he has a plan for making more money in the future. I don't know, but also, Shawn, it's not really your business, but
Yeah. Everyone likes to be in each other's business. Sometimes it seems like the women, especially, are held to this impossible standard in these marriages where if they expect to get what they asked for exactly and will only accept that. They're very rigid, they're snooty, they think they're too good for everyone. How dare they have such high standards? But if they say, "Oh, well, yeah, I had certain things on my list, but I actually care more about the relationship and I'm willing to examine why I wanted those things and compromise in certain ways," then they're disingenuous, they're pick-me's, they're settling, and it's gonna torpedo their relationship. Like, what do people expect from Michelle and Nikki, for example? Like,
yeah.
I guess just to have always sat there and been like, "I'll marry any man who will have me," and then literally just shut up and take it. Like, I don't know.
I know, and that's even with this, like, with Cam, like, she has such a deep connection with him and a chemistry and, like, physical and, that I feel like maybe the guy she was dating before might have given her what she wanted in terms of income and money and things, but clearly that didn't work out. So maybe in her mind, she's like, "I'm not gonna let go of someone who brings all
Yeah.
the rest of the table for me."
Like, it seems like part of what is going on is that she really wants someone who wants to start a family with her.
Mhm.
And maybe if Cam is ready to build a life together and do that, maybe that's the key that's been missing in past relationships. Like, we don't really know. And it's possible that they're avoiding the issues, but it seems to me like they've been really working hard to compromise and work through what matters to them. Shawn and Nikki are the last to arrive, and everyone was very smug about leaving them the kids' bunk bedroom, which I just everyone has it out for them so much that it left a bad taste in my mouth. It's not
Mhm.
like everyone loves Shawn and Nikki and they're like, haha, it's so funny that they're in the kids' room. Everyone's constantly like, why don't they break up? They're embarrassing.
But I'm like, they're actually doing much better than some of you guys. Like, they've
Right.
made leaps and bounds. And listen, if I would have known ahead of time that Shawn wouldn't be there the whole time, that would have been different. Like, "Oh, let's put Nikki in this room because she won't mind so much because she's gonna be alone anyway the second night
Yeah.
or something." But no, it was more mean-spirited, like,
Yeah.
let's put the oldest couple too in the experiment in the bunk bedroom."
Right. There's something about them being the oldest couple and one of the only Black couples where it really feels uncomfortable to me how much people are eager to tear them down
Mhm.
and to poke holes in their narratives, and to, like, humiliate them in the kids' room. Shawn does have to leave in the morning to go to his mom's birthday in New York, but he makes a very convincing announcement to the group that this has nothing to do with Nikki. He and Nikki are great, and he will not be there for most of the weekend, but that's fine.
Yeah.
And then he pulls Adam aside and apologizes for how he approached his critique of Adam at the group dinner. And Adam is like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, and I feel like I got you back, so we're good."
Always a competition with this guy.
I was like, "Oh, yeah, so you were being petty
Yeah.
when you really came after them. Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha."
He's like, "I'll hit you on the ball court tomorrow." I mean, Shawn's like, I'm
Yeah, I
leaving. I
gotta
got my
go.
mom's birthday, but you do you, bro."
No, it really does feel like that. He's like, "They scored a point on me, and now my dander's up. The competitive blood is pumping through my veins. I've gotta smack them down." You really see, like, how amped he gets to win a competition
Mhm.
in that moment. But they do squash the beef, and I guess that's Shawn's, like, last loose end he has to wrap up before he heads to his mom's birthday. On that note, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we will talk about this really fascinating couples retreat. And we're back. So, as this retreat gets going, obviously we have to play a pot stirring production game. As someone who has begun to spend more time watching Bravo, I now recognize what's happening in scenes like this in a way that I didn't, I think, fully in the past. I When I started watching Real Housewives, I would be like, why are they all having a girls' dinner and saying, "Oh, we really want to have a nice night and get bonded." And then you're playing a game called like Warm and Fuzzy and Sharp and Prickly, where you each have to say something mean about each other. Like, why are you doing this? And now I'm like, oh, right. It's literally part of the format,
Mhm.
and production hands them these pot stirring games to play.
Yeah, they're
It's
like,
for the
"Look, these
scene.
games, they're so much you're gonna have the best time playing this."
It's like, no, it's specifically there to engineer conflict. And this game is called The Likely Spouse. They read questions about which person would be most likely to do what's written and then point at their answer. Whoever gets the most fingers at them wins a trophy. I don't know if any of these are positive and they
I was
just
gonna
weren't
say, yeah,
shown.
it's not like positive how to be a good spouse. It's like
Yeah.
the likely terrible spouse of this group.
Right. Most likely to successfully throw a huge surprise party for their partner. Most likely to stay by their side through a terrible illness. I don't like none of those things. It's all like who's most likely to cheat in like
Yeah.
47 different formulations. And so this game is specifically designed to create shame and humiliation in the partners of people who are called out. It's all designed to put a spotlight on especially Tori, and that's exactly what happens. Caitlin gets a few fingers pointed at her for questions like most likely to get the ick in her marriage and most likely to opt for a swap, which is uncomfortable. Devin is furious.
Yeah, he's so angry. But then she kind of proves some of this
Well,
on the couples retreat.
that's the thing, because at the time I was like, why would she opt for a swap? Like, I haven't seen any evidence that she's more interested in anyone else. And then I realized that I had no idea what was going on
No,
on
maybe we
this
weren't
group.
aware of what was happening.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I
with
always
Mecca
thought
and her.
yeah, I always thought she was attracted to Devin as much as she was attracted to anyone there. But what do I know? But also of note, Caitlin does not say anything reassuring to Devin in these moments. She's not like, "Get the ick from Devin. How could anyone get the ick from Devin?" You know, she's not like, "I would never opt for a swap. You guys are crazy. Ha ha."
Yeah. She's like,
She's just
"LOL,
like,
okay."
"Oh, what can you do?" Like, "Ha, sure." And Devin's like, she's kind of just saying like, "Yeah, you're right. That is me, and that makes me feel rejected." But Felipe gets the most fingers because any question pertaining to promiscuity or infidelity or saying the wrong thing and messing up your relationship, everyone immediately points at him and it becomes like a little ritualized joke
Yeah, they're like,
where,
1, 2, 3, Felipe. And he loves it, though. He's, like,
yeah,
eating it up. Meanwhile, Tori is just slowly, like, sinking into her seat in
yeah.
embarrassment.
I think Felipe loves being the center of attention and he doesn't like, I don't think he really sees any of these things as insulting. And I think that's part of the dynamic here that is really bugging Tori, that she's like, "You take a certain amount of pride in being deemed a womanizer." And I think that that is true. Like, he has talked about how hard it was to be scrawny and unattractive and how much pride he's taken in going to the gym and, like, fixing his whole vibe so that now he's attractive to women and he can get as many women as he want. He's not afraid to talk about how he can always get laid. And for men, that is absolutely something that can be a feather in your cap to be like, "Oh yeah, I'm a man whore because I can get a woman whenever I want." Like, they're not ashamed of that. There's a lot of cachet that's attached to that for men that might not be the case if it were reversed. And he should like he's here with his wife.
Yeah.
So,
He seems to forget that point. He's like, "Look, I know I'm sexy. I know I can get all these women." And his wife is just sitting behind him at this, party where they're playing the likely spouse, and he is the
yeah,
least likely
the least likely
spouse.
to survive in a
Yes.
marriage. I wanted to be a little generous to Felipe and Caitlin to a lesser degree and say, well, they're just trying to be good sports. Like, he doesn't want to get sulky and pout and ruin the vibe.
I get that. He was, like, keeping the spirits up. He was like, "It's a game, guys."
But I do think that, as with Caitlyn, there's a way to be like, "Come on, guys, like, I know I've said some crazy shit, but would I really do that to
Yeah.
Tori? Get out of here." Like,
Yeah,
there's
like,
a way
"Look
to
at her.
sort of
She's yeah,
playfully
she's perfect, blah, blah." He didn't say any of that. He just really didn't acknowledge her at all.
yeah, and Tori's like, he's almost enjoying being deemed a womanizer as I'm sitting there, and after he makes a victory speech when he wins the most fingers pointed at him trophy, Tori quietly leaves and goes to their room alone. Afterward, they all separate for girl chat and boy chat, and the women, like, go up to Nikki and Shawn's room, and the men hang out in the kitchen, and the women all complain about the men putting their feet in their mouths, but then they're all like, "Except for Cam. Cam is so great and wise and has such great observations," and Michelle's like, "Yeah, he's just really here for the right reasons, you guys. Like, he just wants to find his person, and I'm that person."
Yeah.
Belle then tells the women about Mecca's "pretty enough for me" comment, which they didn't hear because it was a side conversation. And she says that she still likes him, but she's worried that he doesn't consider her when he says things. And, like, yeah, everyone's pretty shocked. They're all like,
Oh,
"He
yeah.
said
They're like,
that?"
"What?"
Like, he should be bowing down that he
Mhm.
gets to be with you. Devin tells the guys that he knows that Caitlin is struggling with the cameras and the attention. But Adam contests this. He says the four of them went to a concert recently, and he and Marissa were just, vibing to the max, obviously, just like dancing and having fun. And he saw that Caitlin was just on her phone the whole time and blowing Devin off, not dancing with him, not chatting with him. And that sounds not
Terrible,
good.
right? And another moment we didn't get to see. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if she's staring at her phone, there wasn't much happening anyway, but Devin even seems surprised. He's like, "You're right. She was
Yeah.
looking at her phone. She isn't into me." And I wanna be like, "I don't know, Devin. We should have called this a few weeks ago."
Yeah. We tried too hard on this one.
Mhm.
I think Devin still is doing his approach that I struggle with, where with Caitlin, he's all in, he's positive, he's like, "Yay, I love spending time with you, you're so great, I just wish we could, like, cuddle more, but it's great, everything's good," and then as soon as he gets around other people, he's like, "Yeah, this is the fucking worst, like, this
Mhm.
sucks." And they're
Y
like,
you're
"Yeah,
so
it
right.
does."
But they all think Devin's like, "Poor Devin. Look at him,
Yeah,
he's trying so hard." But yeah, he is a little two-faced when it comes to the dynamic between just him and Kate,
yeah,
and then when he's in the group, he really starts shit-talking her. I mean,
yeah.
I guess she does the same to him, but
They they don't have a good communicate
mm-mm.
they're not, like, keeping a good flow of understanding going between them, and to be fair, in this case, Adam is the one who points this out, and Devin has nothing, like, once someone brings up, like, "Oh, but it really seems like you aren't connecting," he's like, "Yeah, that's so true."
Mhm.
Mecca tells the guys about his comment to Belle, and they're all like, "What? Why would you say that? What?"
This is also a moment where you're like, "Mecca, just don't tell the guys that because 'cause you're not gonna look good by telling them
Yeah.
what you said to Belle."
Sometimes I think the guys think that they are going to be validated by the other men
Yeah, did
and
he
then
want
are
the guys to be
taken
like, "You're so
aback.
right, she isn't pretty enough for you." Like, "What?"
Cam asks if Belle is his dream girl, and he immediately says no, like no hesitation. And Cam says, "So what are you doing here?" And Mecca's like, "Is Michelle really your dream girl?" And Cam's like, "Yes. Like she's beautiful. We have fun. Like she's smart. Like she's kind. Like yeah." Adam starts pressing Mecca to describe his dream girl physically. This was interesting. Adam gets like a little bee in his bonnet. He gets a very intense look in his eye.
Mhm.
And he starts asking a bunch of very specific questions. He's like, physically describe your dream girl. What does she look like? Do you like white girls? Do you like blondes? I thought it was very interesting that Adam went directly to that question.
Oh, yeah, 'cause, he's always trying to not only stir the pot, but he just loves, like, to just get under your skin a little bit, like, "Come
Yeah.
on, tell us the
Poke,
truth
poke.
here. Is that why you're not attracted to Belle?
Yeah. I
Let's make this little competition
I know.
with white girls." Like,
I
what?
I was wondering if, like, there had been tells, like, the way that Caitlyn got called out for wanting to swap before we had really seen any reason to think that. Do the guys have a reason for thinking that Mecca has not traditionally dated Black women or been interested in Black women? Or is it like, well, Belle is so beautiful, why would you say she's not your type at all? Like, what's the disconnect there? it was interesting to me how he zeroed in on that specific thing so quickly, and Mecca claims that it's not that. He's like, "I have no racial preference." He says that he goes for thicker women, and Adam is like, "Well, maybe she could get to that physique," and Mecca's like, "Not here," and he sort of gestures at his chest, like, her boobs
Mhm.
aren't big enough. And Adam says, "Well, she could get fake boobs. A lot of girls are getting them. It's a thing."
It's a thing. Yeah, what?
Yeah, just ask her to get major surgery that she'll
Yeah,
need to
I've
have
heard so
redone
many
every
women
10
are getting
years.
fake boobs these days. Everybody's doing
I was
it.
like, Adam, you're losing me here."
Yeah. Oh my god. It's a thing.
And Mecca's like, "Well, she might not wanna do that."
Yes, and I was
I
like,
that's
"Wow, Mecca, good point."
To me, that's sort of a villainous thing to do, to be honest. Like, that's Jax Taylor. It's like, this is my body because it's my partner's body. I wanna ask her to shape it to my liking by
Mhm.
getting major invasive surgery that, again, requires follow-up surgeries over the years, and that is the kind of request that to me is a huge red flag from a partner,
Oh my
and
god,
Adam's just throwing it
absolutely.
out there,
Yeah.
like, "Just ask her."
And Mecca's like, "But wonder if she doesn't want to."
Yeah, I feel like she might not wanna do
Yeah.
that, I don't know, then what, you know? Mecca claims that he's been looking at her and finding the attraction, like, just kinda, like, gazing upon her to try to find things that he's
Yeah, he's
attracted to
like her
about her, I
dimples.
guess.
They're so
Yeah,
cute.
and she does have very cute dimples. Cam points out that everyone gets old, and Cam's starting to get kind of irritated. He's like, "Everyone here is so immature, like, why are you so fixated on, like, exactly how big your wife's boobs are?
Mhm.
It's ridiculous." And he's like, "Everyone gets old anyway, so what's the point?" And Mecca says, "Well, I'm young, and I like what I like."
How
Sounds
could
like
you
you
like,
shouldn't have come on a
right?
show
Come on
like
a show like
this.
this if you wanna handpick your girl.
And
And
did you
Pelchali's
communicate to the
gorgeous.
matchmakers that you will only accept a certain what he claims is body type?
Yeah.
What I will point out is that later he mentions 2 women that he would want to be matched with instead of Belle, and they are not thicker than Belle,
No.
but neither of them are black. I was like, "I don't know, Mecca. I don't know if it's really about the boobs
That's a
here."
good point. And again, our point of like, was there some sort of like connection with Mecca and Caitlin that we just weren't privy to this whole time? Like
Yeah.
they seem to have a friendship, but it's like flirty. But these batch of episodes were the only time we actually saw that like in play a little bit.
Right, and to us, it feels like it came out of nowhere, but
Hmm.
if that had been a undercurrent already that had not made it to camera, it would explain a lot of the unspoken assumptions that seem to be underlying some of these conversations at the retreat. Um, but Mecca does say, it's bigger than looks. Her personality supersedes any complaints I have about her looks. And someone's like, "Well, could she become your dream girl?" And he thinks about it and he's like, "Yes."
Yes, if she gets fake boobs,
If she gets me
absolutely.
Felipe goes up to eavesdrop on the girls and instead finds Tori alone in their room and looking very sad. So he's like, "What's going on?" She tries to prompt him to think about how he'd feel if the whole night was about her being a hoe or flirtatious with other people. And Felipe is not receptive to this whatsoever. He gets very defensive. He says that's other people's opinions and he doesn't care about those. And Tori points out, "Well, I'm also the butt of these jokes, and they're fed by your behavior and comments. And while you enjoy the jokes, you don't seem to consider my feelings about them. And I'm also the butt of them." And he says, "Well, you don't trust me. You care too much about other people's perceptions. I can't be with someone who gives me so little grace." He's getting like animated and like raising his voice and like doing big gestures. And he's like, "It's fucking ridiculous." And like hitting the pillow. Tori is now quietly crying and I don't like it. I'm like, "Do you
Mhm.
notice that your wife came up here upset because you've been basically bragging about how much you love fucking other women, and now you are getting loud and sort of aggressive vibes with her while she is
Like
quietly
sobbing
crying?"
in bed, yeah.
like, do you wanna clock in for a second at what the
Yeah,
dynamic
what's
that you've
ridiculous
created?
here, Felipe? Her or you? Like,
Ugh.
that's
He is, like, a super ridiculous
oh my
person, I'm
god.
afraid. He starts suggesting to her that she doesn't actually wanna be with him, she wants him to change, she's too sensitive to other people's opinions, and Tori seems drained. She says, "I don't feel like you're in my corner, and I can't do this, I don't wanna do this anymore." And he says, "Maybe we're not compatible." And she's like, "Well, you can go back to single life." So I'm thinking, thank God,
Right? Me too.
Tori
I'm like,
like,
"Yes, Tori, you did it."
Tori's free. Like, I'm envisioning her walking down the street like Nicole Kidman, like,
Just
arms flung out.
post Tom Cruise.
Yeah, I'm like, "You don't wanna deal with this man." Like, he has been so disrespectful. He has done nothing to make you feel safe about his loyalty and his commitment in this marriage, and then he promises to make a big, like, effort to show you that he chooses you. He has done nothing except plan a date that's fun for him as well, by the way, and now he's angry at you for having doubts and feelings.
Yeah.
Like, this is gonna be the experience with Felipe. Anytime that he is called out on his own poor behavior, it's very quickly going to shift away from his regret and towards how unfair it is of you to have those expectations of him.
Yes. So I was like, "Yes, yes, another couple down. My girl Tori is free of Felipe."
She's free.
But it was very
Um,
short-lived.
Short-lived. This brings us to episode 17, and it begins with Felipe down in the dumps. He leaves the room and he sad sack walks downstairs. He's like Charlie Brown. He's got the head down and the shoulders slumped. And he tells the guys that Tori broke up with him. And he says, "I don't know what I did tonight, but I guess she feels like she was the butt of the joke." And then he says something very unsurprising, but extremely revealing of why he is the way he is. He says, "My family and friends know I say dumb shit and they just give me grace."
Mhm.
So you've never faced
Yeah.
consequences. You've never learned to be considerate because everyone lets you get away with it.
Just Felipe being Felipe, just we gotta let him be him. We just he gets crazy sometimes.
Yeah,
We
he
still
says
love
hurtful
him.
things. He says hurtful things, and it's just like it's our job to not care because
Yeah.
that's just Felipe. And think of how sad it would make him feel if we told him how hurtful he was.
Yeah, I mean, he cheated, but, it's a Felipe thing.
That's just if
He'll come
Felipe
back
do what
around, don't
Felipe
worry.
do.
He won't cheat on you again.
Mecca points out that Tori probably just felt the game reflected what Tori has to deal with, and she doesn't want that in her relationship. If Mecca is saying what I think he's saying, I think this was very perceptive, which is like she is worried about Felipe's loyalty. She's worried
Mhm.
about his ability to commit. And the game just highlighted all of those concerns and the fact that those are very rational concerns. Everyone sees him this way. And that's going to be a big uphill battle for her in this marriage. And she doesn't want that. And it's not really about like, oh, I care about other people's perceptions. It's about the fact that those perceptions are accurate and she's
Accurate, like,
already
that could
dealing with
actually
it.
happen to her, yes.
Right. And also, in fairness to the guys, they do express that they fucked up by making a joke of calling him out without thinking of her feelings. I thought everyone was being very insensitive during the
Mhm.
game. And Mecca's like, yeah, we weren't even thinking about her feelings.
But
And that
neither
was
were, like,
wrong.
the girls either, like, it
The
wasn't
girls
just the
weren't either.
guys, yeah.
Yeah. No, that was everyone. The girls aren't here for this conversation.
Yeah.
And I don't think we ever hear them apologize for
No.
participating in that. Tori is still alone in her room crying, and at this point, the girls come find her and comfort her.
Which is like, "Where have you been?" is what I thought. I was like, "You guys have been chatting, you didn't realize Tori wasn't with you? Nobody wanted to check up on Tori?"
Right. I was like, there's some missing narrative tissue
Mhm.
here. Like, were they told she wanted time alone? Were they told they had to go have this girl talk by production and they were kind of focused on completing that directive? Did production like say, we're going to have you go talk to Tori later? Or did they just forget? Like, it just feels
Yeah.
like the explanation is missing. We never find out why.
She was just alone in her room for hours.
Yeah, like, maybe they were having girl talk and production was like, we're going to have Felipe come up and talk to her. So give her space.
Yeah.
Like, we just don't know, but it feels very conveniently orchestrated without it being acknowledged. It's like, oh, and now she's crying. Now they come in.
Yeah. Send the
And I'm like,
girls in.
oh. And yeah, they comfort her when they hear, how she's feeling and how Felipe upset her. Marissa's like, how could he? You're Beyonce. And Tori's like, thank you. She's really focused on just how inconsiderate he's been. She's like, he just doesn't consider me. He doesn't consider me. And Caitlin, meanwhile, is just reveling in his downfall. She's like, he's cooked. Castrate him. Like, why does he still have balls? I was like, oh, whoa, okay, Caitlin.
Yeah. She just wants to castrate all the men, except Mecca. Maybe not Mecca, but everybody else.
Like, part of me sympathizes, but it's interesting coming from Caitlin, who is like the only woman who could be said to have been analogous to Felipe in this game. I was like, Devin kind of feels a little bit like Tori right now. Were you aware of that?
Yeah.
Tori says, we deserve to be fucking considered. And Caitlin is like, thank you.
Oh, Caitlin.
Caitlin.
Listen, I've tried to be on her side, but
yeah, at times I am. And just because I think the audience comes down really hard on women who don't conform to a very specific sort of expectation of their behavior. Especially if it's like, oh, she's too cold, she's not, like, having sex with him early enough. That sort of thing really gets my back up. I think that there have been a lot of unfair judgments of Caitlin, but also some fair ones.
yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And she's very inconsiderate of Devin, and she, despite my critiques of Devin, she herself will say, "He is very considerate of me, he takes care of me." And so in these moments, she wants to be part of the conversation, be like, "Yeah, my man always puts his foot in his mouth too. He's so inconsiderate too." But like, we know that's not true. He has his issues, but not those. So Caitlin decides it's time to really get in there and advise Felipe on how he fucked up, even though she, again, is more of a Felipe than a Tori, and she hasn't really done that work on herself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's going to sit down and say, Felipe, this is what you should have said. She didn't say those things.
Thanks to Devin. Yeah.
Yeah. She tells him that he should have drawn a boundary with the others in the moment and said he won't accept everyone continuing to talk about him in that way, to sort of protect the relationship and make Tori feel like he doesn't endorse those behaviors. Suddenly, Shawn is there, and
Shawn's
he
like, oh,
agrees.
are we having a conversation about how
Can
to
I-
act in a couple?
Can
I'm
I
here.
offer some insights?
I'm
Maybe
writing a
straight
book
from
about this exact thing.
Maybe he was doing anthropological research.
Mhm.
Maybe the book was written based on these experiences. He's like, if the jokes aren't protecting the we, they can't happen. You have to protect the we.
Which feels like a
Felipe-
Paul thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really does feel at times like Shawn just came on and absorbed just Paul's whole gestalt. And then he's like,
And then wrote a book about it.
I'm turning this into a book. Felipe says that he deserves a tiny bit of grace from his partner. And he also, again, defends the comments he's made as obvious. And like, Felipe, I don't know how many times everyone around you can say they're not obvious. They're only obvious to you.
Mhm.
And that's why Tori is so bothered by them before he kind of absorbs that.
Yes.
Like, everyone's like, Felipe, those aren't obvious points. Like, plenty of us have been single and not just reveled in getting to sleep with tons of random
Tons of
people.
women. That's not like what every single person thinks. Also,
Right.
the fact that he's like, she didn't give me even a tiny bit of grace. I'm like, all she's giving you is grace.
She's given so much grace. And at a certain point, like, you have to earn the respect to make someone want to defend you. Like, to want to stand beside you and say, like, I really respect the person he is. He's a great partner. I know his character, and that's why I'm going to give him grace and stand behind him in these moments. That he hasn't earned any of that. So what well would that be drawn from?
Yeah.
As Caitlin is going in on Felipe and she's getting pretty heated, Devin and Nikki are outside by the fire with another part of the group, and he says to Nikki that when Caitlin gets defensive and goes after people like that, it's toxic as fuck. He also admits some other festering feelings to Nikki about his efforts not being reciprocated and says that there are no romantic feelings. That was edited a little weird, and it was unclear to me what he meant. Like, did he mean there's no, I don't feel anything romantic, or she doesn't feel anything romantic, or does he just mean like we haven't taken it to a romantic place
Yeah.
because we're not like intimate?
I was confused there too because they've been talking about how they want to, like, kiss and, like, be more touchy.
Right,
So there definitely are romantic feelings there. I just don't think they're maybe he meant, like, she's not showing me
right.
any sort of romance or, like, cues or
We're not behaving like you can
yeah.
have romantic feelings for someone that you barely know, who you've never spoken to. It's called having a crush.
Mhm.
But maybe there's just, he's saying we don't have romantic interactions. But this is again one of those moments where I feel like he has this wellspring of extremely negative feelings about Caitlyn that he does not want to be upfront with her about. Like he's describing her as toxic as fuck.
Mhm.
I understand where that's coming from, but I don't think I have ever described a partner's communication that way. You know, it's like
No.
very strong, and it tells me that the bad feelings about Caitlyn run very deep at this point, and yet he is
He's just
playing.
sticking around, a and it's
Yeah.
clear he's sticking around for, like, he just wants to see if they could be something, even though he knows they couldn't. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
Because I
like
don't know if he wants he didn't seem like the airtime kinda guy where he just wanted to be on the show, you know? But I'm like,
right.
"Why are you sticking around? You guys really are just not meshing. You're not matching energies," and but yeah, when he's calling her out like this, it's like, "So then why are you with her?"
Right. Is it just a little bit of magical thinking
Mm.
where he's like, maybe she'll just, if I have a stern talk with her, she'll stop being toxic and everything will be great. We'll see him try that
Of
tactic
course, too,
soon.
like, the back of the house was just, like, windows, so you could, like, see the
Yeah.
conversation happening at the fire pit,
He's like,
so
there's my wife being
yeah,
toxic
look
as
at
fuck
her.
again. I was like, Devin, is part of you wishing that someone were saying these things to Caitlyn on your behalf right now instead of Caitlyn saying them to
To someone
Felipe?
else,
Someone
yeah.
should sit Caitlyn down and be like, maybe you should have in the moment not gone along with the idea that you would get
I
the
know,
ick
I'm
from
surprised
Devin.
Shawn didn't pick up on that. He was right there.
Oh yeah. He wasn't all the way through writing his book yet. Later that night, we see Caitlin in their bedroom. It's like 2 a.m. And she's complaining to her video diary that Devin is showering instead of initiating a hookup. She's like, I gave him signs. I scratched his back. I like came up to him and like patted him. And I want to be desired. And he's not reading my obvious cues. So he needs to like take accountability for how he's dropping the ball here.
Yeah, and they show these moments where it's just, like, a quick little rub on the back and, like, a pat.
I think that it's fair to me to say he asked for these kinds of little contact and I'm making the effort or I'm like leaning into that stage of our relationship and I hope he's happy with that. That's not the same as like I told him we're not going there and that I have a lot of trauma around that and we're not going there and now if I do pat him on the shoulder he should understand
Yeah,
that
like,
that's no
"Let's
longer
go."
operative.
Yeah.
Like, you put the arm's length of distance between you, and you're totally fair in your rights to do that, but you do have to communicate a little bit more clearly when you're ready to take that
Mhm.
barrier down. Also, like, earlier she said, like, "Oh, I think this is gonna be the perfect weekend to, like, finally get romantic, get intimate, have that physical encounter." I was like, "A couple's weekend
Yeah, you're
that's
like,
filmed?"
when you're not alone, like, especially someone like her who's she likes to be, like, alone, she doesn't like to share too much with people. She's like, "Yeah, let's go pick one of the king suites, and this is where we're gonna hook up for the first time."
Yeah, I don't think that's a very perfect
No.
scenario, personally, for the first time of crossing that particular Rubicon. Like,
Also, like, take a note from Harry Jowsey, and if Devin's in the shower, girl, you go on there in there with him.
yeah, just because he's in the shower doesn't mean he's off limits, unless you hear someone else giggling in there. So apparently they end up arguing so loudly that everyone hears, and it's like
Mm.
3 in the morning at this point.
I feel like they have a lot of late night fights, these 2 too.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Felipe is in the doghouse, and so he ends up sleeping on the couch. And the next morning, perhaps because he has a crick in his neck or something, he does feel remorse. He's like, I don't like that. I don't like that I had to sleep on the couch. So he pulls Tori aside and apologizes, and she says the fact that it doesn't even occur to him to consider her is the real problem. And when she brought up something that was bothering her, not only was he not a safe space for her, he basically said, I don't care.
Mhm. Yep.
And Felipe says that he understands, but he, quote, has PTSD from partners not understanding him or caring too much what people think. My eyes were practically in the back of my head. I rolled them so I'm like, "You have PSD from partners caring too much what people think." I'm hearing that you were an embarrassing, philandering,
Mhm.
shitty boyfriend in the past, and they tried to hold you even a little bit accountable, and you were like, "My mommy wouldn't do
Yeah,
this.
she understands me.
I'm traumatized. My mommy would never." Like, "Felipe, please."
It's so bad. And I was
He
like,
tell
"Tori, do not fall for this. Do not fall for this man."
It's gonna work.
Mhm.
It's gonna work. It's the same thing with Mecca, where it's like they do something shitty and then very quickly they turn the conversation to like, "Oh, but I'm just like really sad about this.
Yeah,
I'm so
people
sad." And
always
like,
judge me for being a hoe.
maybe you should comfort me
Mm.
actually. Like with Mecca, it's, "Oh, I'm really sad because maybe I'm acting like a bad person and that jars with my self-conception." And with Felipe, it's like, it's hard for me when people have judged me in the past for my bad behaviors, which are just part of who I am and are actually sacrosanct, and you can't criticize them. And he says, with my people, we just accept each other as we are. I accept that my mom shops for me and decorates my apartment, and she
Mhm.
accepts that I'm a lazy piece of crap, you know? So
She
we all
loves me.
accept each other. And Tori says, well, I don't want to change you. I just want the person you are to be someone who considers me, but you will have to change him because that's not who he
That's not who he
is.
is. He's never gonna consider you.
They agree to try again, sadly.
Mhm.
But I guess they had a day date booked that they didn't want to waste. But before we get to the day dates and the rest of the retreat and the fallout, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. And we're back. So, yes, we have these day dates. Tori and Felipe end up going to archery. She easily beats him, which you love to see. Shawn has left the building. He left early in the morning, but he and Nikki have a cozy FaceTime chat from New York.
And she misses him. She's
Yeah,
like,
they're
"I
like,
actually
"Ah,
miss Shawn."
I actually enjoy his company." I'm like, maybe being surrounded by this particular group of people also makes him seem
Yeah, would
like
would trigger that for you, yeah.
better the devil you know, right? Cam and Michelle go horseback riding, and he is scared. And I think he's too tall to be on a horse.
Yeah, I was like,
Imagine
"That's a big
6'5" of
horse."
you falling down.
How
It's
do you
like
count
a
the hands? It's like,
yeah,
is that big enough for camp?
I don't know. I hope they had a tall horse for him. Marissa and Adam go mountain
Poor
biking.
Marissa. I was like, "Come on, guys, give her something that's not so
I
up Adam's
know.
alley."
Did they let them pick the date,
They let
or
Adam pick his
did they let Adam pick the date? He did say he was gonna find a pickleball court.
It's
I
like
could
jet
fully
skiing on land.
He's like, "Okay, so there's no pickleball courts.
Yeah.
What's the
Is there a
closest
lake?
thing to pickleball or jet skiing that you can find?" And she says, "Some people went to wineries." And he says, "At least I'm not another boring guy who takes you to wineries."
Ugh,
It could not be more clear that she desperately wants to be with someone who takes her to
I'm
wineries.
with Marissa.
Me
I'm not a
too.
mountain biker. I'm a
Yeah.
winery kinda gal.
I think what Adam needs to explore is that it's not just about describing your feelings in relationships. It's also like going to wineries. If you have a more varied vocabulary, you might find conversation more interesting. Like,
Exactly.
it's actually not boring to go to a winery with someone that you really enjoy having conversations with, because then you can just sit and focus on having a really interesting conversation and enjoying some delicious drinks.
Now Adam would be like, "This wine's cooked. This is the vibes on this wine suck."
It's like, I love that we can just vibe, but like this
Uh,
place is pretty cooked though. I'd rather be ripping it right
I'd
now.
rather be ripping it. Do you have any
I'm just gonna rip
activities
this
here?
wine. He's just like pouring the wine into his mouth.
Yeah, I don't drink anymore, but I'll do it for you. I gotta rip something.
That's true. What would it would probably be boring for him,
But
sort of
let him be bored for
as
once.
a
Gosh,
gourmand. Yeah,
poor Marissa's been bored this whole season.
he could sample their non-alcoholic wines.
Right.
Mecca and Belle do go to a wine tasting, and she admits that she told the women about the comment he made at the group dinner, but that she told them not to look at him differently. She's like, I had to explain that I'm not going to be a 10 to everyone, and that's okay. Everyone has preferences. And Mecca's like, you always want to defend your man, or something like that. And then he tells the camera that she always defends him and he feels undeserving. I thought it was very off that he made that comment. Like, it almost felt like he was mocking her for having jumped to his defense.
Yeah, I didn't like the tone there. You should feel undeserving because she's trying to, like, give you the benefit of the doubt, and then you're, like, in her face being like, "See, you always support me no matter what.
Right. It almost is like he's laughing, like, wow, really? You're going to defend that? I guess you just like love to defend my
See, you love
shitty
me. I told you, you
behavior.
love me more. You're attracted to me more."
I did not like that.
Yeah.
But it again, it probably just plays into this insecurity that he has and this desire to see how much power he has to keep her coming back because he's afraid of people leaving. Now they're talking about how sad he feels. He always feels like he messed up, and that's so hard. She says she thinks it's a pattern for him to assume he's fucking up, and he shouldn't do that. In this case, though, he did fuck up. And so
Yeah.
why are we talking about that?
No, I'm like, "No, he did fuck up. Like, let's hold some accountability here."
Yeah. Like, she's talked herself into she's found a way to kind of make it okay that he said that. Like, she's trying to find her way to work past it. And it's true, he's not a bad person for not finding you to be his type. That was still a very mean comment.
Yes. He didn't
And
have to
it's
say that to you, especially, like, as his wife. Like, you could just keep that to yourself, Becca, you know?
right. Or, you know, be a little bit more transparent with her in a kind way about whether there's compatibility in that department, because she's sitting here thinking he's attracted to me and we're like growing even more and we have such a great thing going, and suddenly he's like, oh, when I saw her the attraction was zero. He's
Yeah.
blindsiding her in these moments. It's just like, to then turn that into a conversation about how it's actually fine to have physical preferences, that's not really the point. Like,
Yeah.
of course that's fine. Caitlin and Devin drive to a picturesque woody spot and sit by the water, and the vibes are weird. She's clinging to his arm and hand while he's driving and like looking out the window. And so they're being very physically affectionate, but he's mid rant about how their
How
argument
toxic
was
she is.
toxic.
Yeah.
He's like, that was awful. That was really toxic. And she's like holding onto his arm. She's like, mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Personally, I'm not quite that physically affectionate when I'm I'm in that state of mind.
No.
When they sit outside to chat, it becomes clear that they have kind of different viewpoints about their communication. She says, well, I think that communication between a couple takes years to master, and we've made so many strides since the beginning. And Devin clearly disagrees,
Yeah.
but he doesn't like to just disagree with her. So he's like, uh-huh, yeah. But he looks like quizzical.
You're like, "Really? Are we in the same conversation right now?"
It's like, I don't think that was better. Devin also says that the romantic connection is important and he needs a more overt green light. And he says, I don't really see this kind of like shoulder pat as I want to fuck you. And Caitlin immediately tenses and says she doesn't like that language.
Yeah.
Something that I noticed way more this batch of episodes, but it's not new, is that she's always policing the words he uses.
Mhm.
She doesn't like how he expresses himself.
No, and she'll be like, "Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that, Deb." But I'm like, "You're kind of acting" I don't wanna say motherly, but you're kind of being like, "Don't say that." Like, "I wouldn't
Right,
speak like that, so you shouldn't speak like that."
right. And as a mom, too, like, I don't feel like I speak to my kids that way
No.
either, right? It's like, sometimes I'll say, like, I'll reprimand them for saying certain things or I'll prompt them for a better but to constantly just be like it's almost like rapping him on the knuckles, right?
Mm,
It's like, "Nope, bad comment. Snap, bad comment. Don't do that again." I don't like that comment. I don't
yeah,
like it when she does that. It comes off as very cold and condescending and yeah, just like she's trying to punish him or give him negative feedback until he just stops. Like she's snapping his wrist
yeah,
with a rubber band every time he picks his nail or something. And
yeah.
she does it a lot.
She does do it a lot. I have noticed that too, like, more recently.
Yeah. And I feel like there can be a way sometimes where she uses that instead of saying what's underneath it. Like she's reprimanding or rapping the knuckles instead of saying, I'm feeling vulnerable and this is a tough conversation for me. And when you speak in that kind of vulgar way, it makes me want to shut down,
Yeah,
or when you make this comment about like how you would seek intimacy elsewhere, that makes me like feel afraid that you don't value loyalty as much as I do. It's always right to the little like snap, don't say that.
yeah,
And it's
but no
not
explanation.
yeah, it's shutting him down instead of communicating where she is and what she's feeling. I would react really poorly if my partner did that to me, needless to
Yeah.
say. Devin brings up that conversations can't go the way they did the night before. He can't be shut down. That's something he's like, "That's something I cannot have. It's unacceptable. I do not like nor agree with that sort of toxic communication." She tries to cut in, and he insists on finishing his thought. I didn't love his approach either, but I
No.
do think it's fair for him to try to set certain boundaries or standards of the kinds of ways he'll be spoken to. But I feel like now they're both kind of doing this thing where they're kind of reprimanding each other and talking down to each other about the words they're using. Like they're both
Yeah.
just like more focused on controlling each other's language.
Yeah, it just this whole conversation, I was just like, "This is why they don't work."
Yeah.
Because they'll never be aligned, not even only on communication, but just, like, everything. Like, I feel like their personalities don't match, their lifestyles don't match.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they're kinda, like, nitpicking each other's communication style, but both being wrong in the way they're trying to communicate. So, I kinda sensed they were going downhill from here. I was like, "There's not really a way for them to climb their way back up."
Right. Yeah. No, once they reach the point where they're both like, stop it. You stop
Mhm.
that. That's
Yeah.
not okay. Like, that is not a productive way to communicate. It's only going to put the other person on the defensive. I don't like Devin's energy when he gets into these modes either. It feels very like a sort of controlling side of him comes
Mhm.
out that we don't normally see. There again, there's a way to say, I'm not comfortable being spoken to that way. If it happens again, I'm going to remove myself from the situation because that's just not what I'm comfortable with. And then the way he's talking to her is more like, yeah, she's a child or a student who's being corrected. And I
Yeah.
don't find that to be the right tone to strike. Very bad vibes. Hope things will improve over the course of the day. Back at the house, they all get ready for dinner. Devin tells Felipe and Mecca about his argument with Caitlin, and their takeaway is amazing. It sounds like Caitlin is ready to bone.
I'm like, "What? Where did you guys where what are we living in the same universe?"
Devin's like, we got in a huge fight because she had decided she was ready for sex, but I didn't know that. And then she was mad at me. So we yelled at each other all night, and they're like, "Dude, she
Makeup
wants to
sex,
fuck."
yeah.
That's awesome. I'm like, "Guys, look at your friend. He
Yeah.
doesn't wanna have sex with
No, I'm
Caitlin
like,
right now. He hates her."
he's depleted.
Yeah. And I think he's quite fairly very frustrated. He says it's like he's at a stoplight and the red and green lights are on at the same time. Like, she has given such strong signals that she is not to be approached that way. And now she's saying, I was also giving go ahead signals. And
Yeah.
she wants a man who is going to read her in this minute way that I think is kind of unrealistic.
Yes. He's gonna get into an accident. There's, like,
Yeah.
no doubt about it.
I know. I'm like, sometimes you just need one light at a time.
Mhm.
Sometimes you need to use your words and say, "Hey, traffic is proceeding. You may move
Go
through the
ahead.
intersection." But he's like, I guess I got the go ahead, so I will be moving as such in the future." Meanwhile, Caitlin is kind of talking shit about Devin with Marissa and Tori about how she was like sending these clear signals and he didn't go for it. She's like, he's a rugby player and he dropped the fucking ball.
Ugh, these 2.
I continue to kind of have the creeping suspicion with Caitlin that she is a victim of romance novel brain, where you meet the man who is perfect and he just somehow always knows the right thing to do that you want him to do. And outside of fiction, that doesn't really exist.
Yeah. She's like, "He's a rugby player, and he should be a changed man because he met me, and he should never drop the ball," and it's like,
Yeah.
off-campus lore.
He should just know the exact moment when it's right to give me space, and also then the exact moment when it's right to sort of sweep in and seduce me.
Mhm.
But he's kind of focused right now on respecting your boundaries, and
Yeah.
he's not fictional. He's waiting for you to really clearly tell
Be
him.
like, "Do you wanna make out?"
Yeah, exactly. Nikki, Belle, and Michelle are getting ready together, and Nikki brings up or starts talking about her thoughts on Mecca's comment. She says, well, the issue is what was underneath it. And Belle says it was just that he wasn't thinking about it or like the implications of it. And I don't know if that's what's underneath it. What's underneath it is the reason he said it at all. Like, I
Mhm.
feel like Belle's putting a lot on, like, well, he's just inconsiderate. But why was the thought there?
Yeah, and I'm like, "And why did he think to turn to you and be like, 'You're not pretty enough for me?'"
Yeah. It
Yeah.
reminds me of the Courtney comment early on where she made a joke of how she was counting the minutes until Nick would stop cuddling her.
Yeah.
You could frame that as just, oh, it's just inconsiderate to think of how he will feel. But I think deeper than that for me is you think of them as sort of ridiculous in a way or like unworthy in a way that you would even have the thought of framing it to everyone in that register or of making that comment to Belle, like, there's a lack of respect that goes deeper than just, "He should have thought better of saying it."
Yeah.
I don't Michelle looks uncomfortable, and she decides to bring up something that she actually already told Caitlin, which is that through pillow talk with Cam, she has learned what Mecca said about Belle
Yeah.
to the guys. And she's like, "Do you wanna I feel like you should know, so I'm gonna tell you. He said that you weren't his dream girl and he wanted someone with bigger titties."
Ugh, my heart sank for Belle.
Yeah.
But do you think Michelle telling her is the right thing? Like, I don't think if I heard that, I would be able to, like, not tell her.
That's the thing. Michelle has gotten a lot of heat for doing this, stirring the pot, like, undermining Mecca and Belle. I still feel like it was the right thing to do. Like, I do think
Mhm.
that Belle deserves to know, especially because Mecca has, like, apologized to Belle. Belle's now making excuses for him. She's rationalizing it. It's clear that she needs to know that this mindset continues to be an issue.
Yeah, like, this is the perfect time for Michelle to tell her because they're talking about the whole concept of her not being pretty enough for him, and she's
Yeah.
trying to say, "Well, this is what he was telling the guys last night." And I think she totally deserved to hear that.
Yeah, and how would I feel if I found out later that my friend had kept that from
Mhm.
me? I would very much feel like, "Put me first as your friend, I
Yes.
deserve to know." Um, her delivery maybe left something to be desired, but I just don't like the word titties, I think. I was like,
Yeah,
"Why do
like,
you
did
keep
he
saying it
even
that
say that?
way?"
I don't even know if he said
He just kind of gestured in that
yeah,
direction, I think. Um, yeah, that's what she said to Caitlin also. She's like, "Mecca said he wanted bigger tits," and Caitlin
titties.
was like, "What?"
Yeah, I don't think I've ever, like, used tits for
Not my
yeah.
favorite. But I do think that Belle needed to know this is one of the things I don't have an issue with Michelle doing to stir the pot. And Belle takes this in and she's really hurt. Um, she says, if we're being honest, I didn't ask for a man that painted his fucking nails. But she's like, I would never take it there. I was like, Belle, you just
You
did.
just did.
But
But she's hurt.
she's hurt. Uh, Belle says that she feels the men she's with always end up wanting to humble her. And Nikki agrees and says she's felt the same thing with Shawn. She brings up his New York 7 comment. She says that she also felt he was trying to humble her. She says he didn't apologize until she was kind to him. And she says she's been trying to kind of intentionally be a soft place so that his like inner child can feel like nurtured enough to be soft with her. I was like, wow, she is like going really deep into this assignment.
Yeah, I'm like, did Shawn bring up the inner child stuff, or did Nikki just conclude that's what he needs?
Yeah, I was like, "You are really going into the psych
Mhm.
textbooks for this marriage." Um, I thought that was interesting because I do think it also provides a lot of context for the shifts in their relationship after the first couple weeks.
Yeah.
Michelle is really disgusted, and she tells the camera that she wants to shake Nikki and Belle because they're dealing with little boys and not men. I did not think this was ideal phrasing considering that these are the only 2 black men on the show.
Yeah, that's a good
Um
point.
A lot of these guys actually, I think, are very immature.
Yeah, most of them, except well, Cam is, doing but he's mature in his own ways too. I mean, he's never
Y
even had a real relationship. So, yeah, to, like, pinpoint these 2 men and use that
yeah,
phrase, like, they're the little boys of the group.
yeah,
Could have been
it's
handled a little differently.
agree. Um, but with that, it's time for the group dinner. Felipe and Tori are back together and they're loving life. They tell everyone they're closer now that they worked through that fight. And Cam tells the camera that they're like a real life telenovela. Again, not ideal phrasing.
Cam and Michelle just really
Yeah, foot in the mouth syndrome.
mhm.
Because of course Felipe is the only, like, Latin American person, I believe, on the cast. Mecca tells the group he was disrespectful to Belle at the last dinner, which Belle describes as a different way of communicating. He just has a way of communicating where he says
Terribly offensive
insults.
things.
That is different. It's different for sure. Nikki says she relates to Belle, but as she's tried to lean into softness with Shawn, she's found a kinder side of him, plus the attraction and intimacy. But Belle is ready to take a stand. She says that despite how much she loves Nikki, she's a hell no on Shawn for Nikki.
Yeah. Belle's energy is definitely different at this dinner too. She's, like, out for
Yeah.
blood.
Yeah. Nikki is like, well, for context, everyone should know about Shawn's New York 7 comment.
So let me bring
That's
it
what
up.
she's referring to. And Belle really goes off. She's like, Shawn was trying to humble you. And anyone who's talking like that is insecure. End of story. There's no way that anyone is going to try to humble me like that in a relationship. There are lots of reaction shots of Mecca looking uncomfortable. Do you think that Belle was actually directing this primarily at Mecca?
Yes, in a way. I think
Yeah.
she was like I said, her energy was so different, and it's because of what she just heard. She's saying what she kinda wishes she could just tell Mecca, but she's
Yeah.
having trouble telling him, so she's gonna do it through Shawn and Nikki's relationship. At least that's the sense I got. I don't know if you felt the same way.
Yeah, and I think that's what the edit is trying to convey by showing all those reaction shots of Mecca looking very uncomfortable. Like he's the real audience for this little speech. Especially because we just saw Nikki and Belle commiserating about how both of
Mhm.
their guys do this, and yet she's sitting here saying, "Nikki, don't accept this from Shawn. I would never accept
Yeah,
this."
Shawn's a hard no.
Right. It I love Belle, and I wish that Belle knew how to, I guess, stand up for herself more in this relationship. She's, like, giving so much to make it work, but in this moment, I was kind of frustrated because it's almost like she doesn't wanna air out her own relationship or her own partner, or her by extension, if she stays with Mecca, make herself look like she's a doormat so she can sort of warn Mecca and reprimand him without exposing them in this way, but she's exposing Nikki instead. She's
Yeah,
exposing Nikki and something that went on with Shawn that Nikki didn't even want to tell the whole group.
no. Yeah, this wasn't Belle's shiniest moment, but I feel like she was just hurt and she's trying to, like,
Yeah.
get that hurt out, but that's the thing with Belle, she never really, like, confronts Mecca. She's always trying to, like, cuddle him or make him feel seen and heard, but she needs to feel the same way, and he's not
Yeah.
always giving her that.
You can see like how much she understands what he went through as a kid because they have such similar wounds in their childhood. And so she has so much abundant like empathy and grace for him, even though she's not really getting that back from him. And she knows what he needs because she needs it. Like
Mhm.
it makes me so like it just makes me very sad. Like I want her to be with someone who can give that to her as well. But then Michelle makes a honestly kind of condescending little speech, and the way that she talks also just sounds condescending sometimes. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
intentional.
Yeah.
But she's like, everyone is doing their best, but walking away and knowing your value and what you deserve makes you more special than just getting to decision day because you completed the process.
She's basically like, "You guys should all break up."
Just break up.
Trying to say it in a nicer way, which didn't end up sounding nice at all.
Yeah, I did not appreciate her implication that your specialness or value is determined by when you decide to call the relationship. I feel like we've had a bit of a cultural swing, like toward holding people accountable for accepting bad treatment in a way that I find counterproductive. Like, like I know we all want to look at people who are in bad relationships and like shake them and be like, just get out, be free. But we end up directing all the scrutiny at people and the judgment and the shame on people who are receiving the bad treatment.
Mhm.
And like to stand here and be like, well, if you tolerate any bad treatment, you're not as special. You don't have as much value. Leaves a
Yeah.
really bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't the right phrasing. But again, Michelle kinda she does talk that way, like, she has this air about her, and her and Cam feel like they're, like, top tier in the experiment, so they
Yeah.
feel like they can just kind of, I don't know, share their wisdom with everyone
Yeah.
else without really, like, understanding how different everybody's dynamics are in their relationships. Like, not everybody's gonna just automatically fall in love with their person. They're all trying to work through it.
Yeah. And so we're like, well, I guess you didn't win the lottery.
Mhm.
So better just give up. Stop trying. Nikki does not stand for this. She's had enough. She says, well, that's a wild assumption that people are still here because they're just trying to get through the process and get to the end. And Michelle says, well, when you know you're not a fit and someone has disrespected you, you really, at some point, you just have to think long term about whether that's what you want. And Nikki responds that, again, that's a wild assumption that just because they have different relationships or face more challenges than Cam and Michelle have, that doesn't mean that they don't respect themselves or that they're completely mismatched. She's like, I call BS. Michelle looks a little shaken up. I do not think she really expected to receive any pushback for
No.
this.
But as we know, Nikki and Shawn have been, like, on the Michelle.
Yeah. Well, they're getting tired of people sort of openly sneering at
Mhm.
them just because they had the most issues in the first couple of weeks. And Nikki's had it up to here.
Yeah,
She's like,
she's
I'm
like,
not,
"No, I'm not. I miss Shawn right now.
yeah.
I wanna go FaceTime it. Don't tell me what my relationship is."
Yeah, at least Shawn won't sit there and tell me that I'm not special enough because I'm still in this relationship.
Yeah.
He'll just say I'm a New York 7, and that's totally valid. Felipe agrees and says that no one knows the totality of each other's relationships and they're all on their own journeys. And I was like, wow, these people are fed up with Michelle and Cam telling
Mhm.
them who should break up and who should stay together.
Yeah. So is the audience.
Yeah. No, it's like that's not your job.
No.
Like, I love when you stir the pot a little bit, when you share a little gossip, when you ask a probing question. But to sit there and be like, you should all break up, you're not as special because you're not breaking up.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to see a show. Stop telling everyone to leave the
Yeah,
show.
we don't need all the couples to leave. Gosh, Michelle.
Second of all, who put you in charge? The experts, they might not be here right now, but they're
Cam's
still in
just yeah,
charge.
Cam's just coaching all these kids. Except
Yeah,
it's not basketball, it's love. It's love coaching.
this whole thing is their job application. They're
Yeah.
like, we're rebranding
See?
as
Yes,
coaches.
Cam's like, "Now we'll make money."
After dinner, they cut up brownies, maybe special
Mhm.
brownies.
Yeah, they're like, "Where are the brownies?"
Yeah, let's cut those right now. I say this because then things get pretty fratty.
Yeah, it turns
They are
quick, so I think yeah, I think the brownies were definitely special.
Mecca pulls Caitlin aside for some reason, and it's very weird right away. Like, he's like, I want to talk to you about this. And she makes a little comment about how cool she feels that he wants to talk to her about it. And he's like, yeah, you're my girl.
It's
Of
like, "What?
course.
What?"
What? Huh?
It was like a Love Island, like, "Can I pull you for a chat?" I was like,
Right.
"Wait, do we pull other spouses for private chats by the fire?" I didn't know that happened on this show.
Right. And like to say that you feel cool that he wants to talk to you to me is such a like high school crush
Mhm.
vibe. It's like, oh, you want to talk to me about it? Like, I didn't even know you knew I existed. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I feel chosen.
Can't you guys
Why do
just
you
talk about it,
care?
like, right here too, like, on the couch? Do you have to go, like, have
Right.
personal time? I don't know. But, yeah, I
They
think
have
this
a lot of
dynamic
personal time.
must have been, like, brewing for a bit.
Right. But then it's weird that she still feels surprised in this way, like, and flattered in this way. Like, that's the thing, it reeks of, like, there's a backstory, but also she's like, "Who, me?" Like, it all feels very flirty
Yeah.
and, like,
Maybe they
clandestine.
made eyes across, like, the therapy sessions.
Maybe. I saw someone speculating that she was texting Mecca at the concert with Devin, and I was like, "Well, we have 2 pieces of information that you could theoretically draw a line in between, so I say that's proof enough." Kidding, we have no idea if they've ever spoken before, but Belle pulls Mecca into another room and reveals that she learned what he said to the boys. And his defense is that he was with the boys and he was talking in confidence with them. So he thought it wouldn't come back to her and therefore
Said it anyway. What
said it anyway.
yeah.
Like, Mecca, I don't know how to explain this to you. You're on camera. Like, she is 100% going to see that comment.
Yeah.
Like,
Like, if not now, she's gonna see it when it airs.
so, like, at best, what you're saying is, I assumed that you wouldn't see it until months from now, and I wasn't worried about that because I don't think we'll be together. And at
Yeah.
worst, I don't know. At worst, you don't care how she feels when she sees it.
But also he should have known that, like, Cam would tell Michelle. Like, I feel like Cam tells Michelle everything, so
No, it's extremely stupid to tell all of the
I'm sure Adam told Marissa
husbands
too,
of all.
yeah.
No,
Like
yeah,
yeah.
they're all pillow talking, please. And and also, like, she's still allowed to be hurt that you feel this way.
Yeah, he's like,
She's
"But you
allowed to
shouldn't
be
feel hurt. It's just
it's like, "You weren't
boobs."
supposed to know that I feel this way, so it's fine." It's like, "Well, that
Yeah,
doesn't actually change how you feel."
yeah. "I feel it, but I didn't tell you, so you don't have to feel it."
Yeah, just pretend you didn't hear it, like, there's no problem. No, what does it change? Nothing. she tells the camera that she's realizing that she wouldn't put up with this shit outside of the experiment, but her ideas about marriage are kind of like pushing her to give things more of a chance. Like she really wants to like believe in the sanctity of marriage. It's awkward because they're like right off of the main room and everyone can hear them fighting.
Yeah.
But somehow we jump from her being really upset to the point in the argument where they make up and they're good again. And she's like, let's go play the game.
Yeah, let's just go.
So the other couples have begun playing a game that is sort of a spin the bottle version of truth or dare. And of course, it's a production shit stirring game. So there are some real shit stirring questions. Most importantly, Mecca is asked who he would think he was meant to be matched with if he found out his match was a mistake. Belle says she knows he's going to say Tori, but Mecca's answer is Michelle and Caitlin.
Like, what?
What?
First of all, Michelle, I could not sense that at all.
I mean, that's why it kind of gives the impression of like, well, why did you think of Michelle? Like, have you always been interested in or attracted to her in some way? Is Michelle more your type? Is Caitlin more your type? Like, what makes you think that you would be paired together?
Yeah.
And why so much so that you had to say 2 of them?
Also, just don't
Like,
say anybody. Just say no one.
and Caitlin is so obviously flattered.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
she
She's like,
looks so
me?
happy. I was like, "Girl, I've been defending you. This is
This felt
how
like
dare
yeah,
you?"
it felt like a party, a high school party in, like, some parent's basement where they were all playing spin the bottle, and the girl's like, "Oh, he likes me?" I'm like, "You're married and your
Yeah,
spouse is here."
I know. Well, Caitlin and Mecca the whole time are acting like they are single high
Mhm.
schoolers at a house party. Like, there is no hint of, "I'm a married adult," like, at all. After the game, Caitlin pulls Mecca for a chat in a weird way where they literally announce to everyone that they're going to go debrief.
Like, debrief what? Like,
This is
all
an
the
incredibly
drama?
weird thing.
So we're gonna
Right.
go talk about each other's spouses to each other. So we're gonna go outside.
Why do you need to debrief? Like, that gives the impression that you have some sort of joint project or,
Mhm.
like I can't think of a scenario where I would need to announce that at a party about someone who wasn't, like, my husband or my best friend.
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, we haven't seen each other in a while. We're gonna go debrief. We'll be back soon." Still weird to do, to be honest.
Yeah, like, don't you wanna debrief with your husbands and wives too? Like, I don't know.
The idea of pulling aside my friend's husband at a party and being like, "We're gonna go debrief, everyone. We'll be
That's
back,"
what I thought of
is
immediately. I was like, "I would
insane
never do
to me.
this." When I saw this moment, I was like, "What? Could you imagine if I" yeah, you pulled your best friend's husband, like, "Bye, everybody. We're gonna go outside with some wine and debrief."
It's like you're announcing to everyone that you have this sort of, like, illicit,
Mhm.
intimate relationship. Like, I do believe men and women can be friends, of course. There is no particular reason for Mecca and Caitlin to be such good friends
No.
that they're gonna pull each other to debrief
After he just
over their
said she'd be
spouses.
one of his, like
Right. It's like, oh, it makes it sound like they're gonna go debrief, like, why he thinks they would be
yeah, this is I
matched.
just wanna tell you why I think that we would be a good match.
It's so, so bizarre. I really can't even wrap my head around why they did this, and then to announce it in this way, it seems like maybe she was trying to give them insurance against seeming like they were being sneaky, but instead it almost seems like they're flaunting it.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, "Hey, we got something going on. There's, like, something special between us that you guys didn't know about."
It was so weird.
It's kind of giving Amanda vibes,
Yeah.
Amanda Batula
Mhm.
vibes. They go outside, and it really does seem like they're flirting. He tells her that earlier he needed someone to talk to, and she was the first person he thought of, and Kate is, like, so flattered. He's sort of trying to get her to say that what he said to Belle wasn't that bad, and she's like, "Come on, you don't need to say that. Keep it to yourself." But she's not going in on him like she was
Yeah.
with Felipe. She's being flirtatious.
Yeah.
To do this whole like, "Oh, I just, like, really wanted to talk to someone and you were the person I thought of," to a woman that you don't know that well when you're a married man, you cannot tell me that he's not hitting on her. That's crazy.
This was absolutely a flirt session.
Yeah, and she loves it.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
like, "I've been chosen."
Yeah, she has given Mecca 10 times more affection than she has Devin in, like,
It's
what, 5 weeks?
yeah. Inside, everyone is watching, and Adam keeps ribbing Devin about how Mecca is rizzing up his girl, and Devin is getting more and more steamed. So the night skips ahead. Clearly, production has gone home. It's after 2 a.m. We're watching on the spy cams, and Mecca and Kate are clearly flirting. He's like playing with her hand and kissing it. He's putting his chain on her. And suddenly, they, these two couples, like Mecca and Belle and Kate and Devin, are the only ones left up. And Devin is going off about how this is all bullshit. He's like, he overstepped and you played into it. At this point, Devin and Belle are sitting on one couch, and then it's like an L shaped couch. Devin and Belle are on one, and then Caitlin and Mecca are on the other one.
It's so weird.
It's
It's
a
like
very
Belle
weird
and Devin
arrangement.
only stayed up, I feel like, because they were watching what was happening, and they were like, "We can't
Right.
leave them
It's like
because."
now they're a team, like
Yes.
they're investigating their partner's misbehavior together. And Caitlin tries to say, that's not what happened. Like, here's what happened. Devin cuts her off to say, is it what happened in your head or something like that? And Caitlin says, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Big yikes to that. Devin has a very big reaction to this. He leans toward her and points his hand right in her face and says angrily, now you're being disrespectful. We literally talked about this today. And he's leaning in more and more and pointing his hand closer to her face. And I didn't like this either. This
No.
felt physically
Like, threatening.
aggressive and
Mhm.
yeah. And it's like he's trying to physically intimidate her on a conscious or subconscious level. And he keeps edging more and more in her face. Belle has to kind of reach over and tap his arm to get him to stop, which to be fair, he did once Belle kind of pulled him back. But I found this to be an unsettling reaction.
Oh, yeah. I
So I like,
imagine there was some, like, drinking involved since we're up
yeah,
at 2 a.m., but yes, he was, like, towering over her.
yeah.
It was not good. I get that he's angry, and I would be too with Caitlin's behavior towards Mecca, but yeah.
To me, this is a real, like, everyone sucks
Mm.
situation. They both have their points where I could defend them, and I have, but in the midst of this confrontation, I was just like, Caitlin behaved very poorly and disrespectfully. It led to this moment. Then she said, shut the fuck up, which is not a respectful way to communicate. He's getting in her face in a way that I find, like, physically intimidating, and it, like, when a man behaves that way, it really, like, gets the hairs on the back of my neck to stand up. So I'm not really looking to defend either of them right
No.
now. I'm like, this is a bad situation. I think they both have the absolute worst in them brought out by this relationship.
Oh, yeah.
And Caitlin says she only said shut the fuck up because he wouldn't let her talk. And Devin is like, I'm out of here, and just leaves.
I mean, I'm glad he left because it coulda escalated, I
Yeah.
feel
No,
like,
he did
much
the right thing by
further,
leaving.
but, yeah,
Yeah.
that was, like the situation was crazy. It took me by surprise. I was like and then I
Yeah.
felt bad for Belle and, like,
I know.
herself in that situation because she's clearly probably upset with Mecca because he played a part with Caitlyn, but then to watch the 2 of them kinda go after each other and then have to, like, help, bring Devin back down as de-escalate the
Yeah.
situation. Oh, it was bad.
Bella's always the afterthought. Like, in
Mhm.
every scenario, her needs are put last, and I think that she has just as much right as Devin to feel hurt and disrespected, and no one's focused on
No,
Belle at
nobody's
all.
checking in on her.
Um, the next morning, things have not chilled out at all. Devin's eyes look very red. Caitlin looks very bleak. They have one more conversation. He says he can't get through to her. She won't let him in. He brings up her behavior with Mecca, and she says arguing over that feels so high school, which
Yeah,
any
because yeah.
Swiftie you would think would see that as a good thing.
Mhm. Mm,
feeling so high school. If it makes you feel so high school, then maybe lean into that.
yeah. She was leaning
That's so
into it
Travis and
late last
Taylor.
night.
Yeah. Yeah. Devin says that the Mecca situation isn't really the issue. They could have a conversation about it later and be fine, except that she never lets him talk and she's disrespectful whenever they have a conversation. And he's right, but I have to admit that I find it very off when a man keeps saying to a woman that she's being disrespectful. I like it. There's just something about it that to me it's such a commonly used word in contexts that are about like really controlling women's tone and policing their anger and emotions that like I find it very uncomfortable for a man to constantly be like, "You're disrespectful." I don't like that. Also, she was very disrespectful.
But he could have just
uh,
used a different word,
I do think he just like snaps into this like, "Stop it. You're not
yeah,
going to behave that way.
which she
Not
does
acceptable."
too, and so it's
Yeah.
just yeah.
Caitlin says she was frustrated because he kept cutting her off, which he denies. In that specific moment, he definitely did cut her off. It was on camera, but that's not a capital crime. Like sometimes you
Yeah.
cut someone off when you're arguing. He's like, "You were the only one speaking that whole argument." Then he says that's why he's done. He knows she's been in bad relationships, but he won't let her bring that kind of like toxic energy into their relationship. He's not going to deal with it. Caitlin then seems to try to flip this on him. She kind of goes off about how she would strangle her friends if they put up with this bullshit. She says she's felt backed into a corner, nitpicked, and overanalyzed. She's like, "I wouldn't have even said that on the couch if I didn't already know we were done, but I knew that it was over."
Yeah.
You could have said that before.
I don't know. In this moment, I feel like she's just angry and she's trying to just throw things back at him.
Yeah. Yeah, she doesn't wanna be it's a very I'm not fired, I quit, like,
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
She wants to be the one who gets to say she called it. Um, Honestly, they both should have called it a long time ago, and I'm glad that it's over, but it is a classic example of you could have ended on relatively good terms
Mhm.
a few weeks ago and said, "Hey, you're great, but you're not for me, and we're not compatible." And instead, they had this like horrible, unpleasant altercation, and
It
now
just
we're parting on very
unraveled.
bad terms.
Yep.
Yeah. Breakups are good, people. Don't be afraid to do it. This brings us to episode 18, The Aftermath. And the next morning, everyone's in the kitchen hanging out. Devin and Caitlin kill the vibe by dropping the breakup bomb. And then they both kind of try to spin the breakup to everyone else in front of each other. And it's very awkward. Devin's like, "Our communication is not up to par. It's a power struggle. I don't want to keep playing into the toxic pattern." And she's like, "Yeah, I'm tired of the emotional weight of the constant arguing. We weren't even arguing in the same conversation last night." And Devin says, "Because you don't listen. I'm tired of being disrespected in conversation." And everyone else
My
is like, "Oh,
God.
okay, well."
It's like, could we have talked about this in a
Yeah.
you guys got it out between each other. We don't need to hear all
Yeah,
the
I
nitty-gritty.
actually
Just say you
don't
broke up.
care. I actually don't care why.
Just want my
I'm just trying to have some
pancakes.
pancakes. Adam cheerfully says he heard Mecca wanted to try a couple swap. Adam is like a real
Adam is
chaos goblin.
he is.
This
He's a pot
weekend.
stirrer.
And interestingly, I think people liked him way better this batch of episodes when he just leaned out of his own relationship and leaned into being a little gremlin.
Right?
People are like,
And he didn't even have
"Yes."
to say jet ski once for us to
I think people are less irritated when Adam spreads chaos than some of the women, and I'm just throwing that out
Mhm.
there. Um, in a confessional, Mecca says that he just sees Caitlin as a really, really, really good friend, which is how I describe all of the spouses of my friends.
Mhm.
But for Devin, it went too far. He says, "I've had a good time, but at the expense of other people." Devin leaves on his own and says his goodbyes, and Mecca says to Devin that he feels responsible for what happened, and Devin says it wasn't his fault, really. It was just the last straw. It was how Caitlin reacted, and it needed to end. He tells the camera that he has no hard feelings about Mecca because he apologized for overstepping. But he's clearly very bitter about Caitlin. He's like, I came in ready to go all in. I got someone who was one toe in. He keeps insisting that she's amazing and just wouldn't let him in, but I just don't buy it. I really
Yeah.
think that he loathes
I'm
her
like,
at
"I don't
this point.
think you think she's amazing, Devin."
Yeah, she's an amazing, toxic, frigid bitch.
That's literally what he wants to say. He's just trying to be like, you know, send his way off the camera in a nice, calm way, but he really wants to just
Yeah,
be like, "Fuck
fuck
everyone
her.
for putting me with this bitch."
And I fully
Ugh.
understand being extremely frustrated by who he was matched with. They were really poorly matched. It was a
I
bad
still think
pair.
back to their wedding though, and I, like, was like, "Wow, they're so
So
cute
hopeful.
together." I was so
Yeah.
hopeful.
But I think a lot of the pairings were done in this way where the experts were like, "They look so cute together.
Yeah.
What could go wrong?"
Lots.
Yeah. But I think back to when he first told the group that it was like trying to cannonball into a frozen lake, and I was like, he doesn't
Yeah.
like her anymore.
Yeah.
But he he gave it his all. Caitlin is very weepy and emotional. She says she's never felt so misunderstood, and he probably does too. She says that he tried so hard, but he didn't really see some important things about her. For example, I think we can all remember that he didn't listen to the life of a showgirl on his own. He
Mhm.
only did it when he was with her. So that's
Yeah.
probably what she's referring to. But she loved how he treated her compared to her shitty past relationships. She drives back with Cam and Michelle. Nikki and Belle and Mecca drive back together. And Mecca is in the back seat with Nikki and Belle up front. And he's just bemoaning what an idiot he is and how he hurts people. And Belle just looks so over his self
Yeah.
pity, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Belle needs a retreat for herself
Yeah.
after
Like
this weekend.
her husband said she wasn't his dream girl. He wished she had bigger tits and then spent the evening flirting with another woman, putting his chain around her neck, kissing her hand, and somehow Belle is like the last person on the list
Mhm.
of who's getting emotionally nurtured right
Yeah.
now.
Mecca's
No
like, "Look
one's
what I
given one thought.
did. Look what I did." And he's
It's
not
like,
like, "I wonder how Belle is."
right.
Like, "Look,
Now,
Devin and Caitlin broke up over what happened last night. Maybe I should check on Belle."
right. Maybe Belle's also sick of this bullshit. Post retreat, Felipe gets together with his mom and friend, who is slightly confusingly named Nana. And I don't know, I don't think I heard them say it or pronounce it, but I did for a moment think that he had an extremely young looking grandma. um,
She
he,
looks great.
she's so well preserved. She looks like she's in her 30s. He complains to them that his marriage isn't perfect because he can't be his true self around Tori. Sometimes he gets into trouble when he is. He says, I get it. I'm not perfect in the words that I choose, but the rest of my life I'm going to say stupid shit. Nana says she initially thought he was, quote, super mean, but now she knows he doesn't mean harm. So maybe with Tori, it will take time for her to get there.
This is one of those people that, like, forgives him for his behavior. She's like, "Yeah, I just thought you were a dick, but it turns out that's just, who you are,
You,
and I just take it."
yeah, you just behave like a dick. And I don't let it bother me because I know that deep down you're a good person. I like truly live in fear of raising a son this way. He has been raised to believe that he is completely entitled to act out every impulse, to say every string of words that pops into his head, and to have zero consequences, to have
Mhm.
no one treat him differently, to have no one see him differently. Does he interact with other people in this way where, like, Tori could say or do whatever she wanted, and he would just say, "That's Tori for you"?
Yeah, no.
That hasn't been my
That's not our
experience.
experience.
It's so it's so wild to see the product of such severe baby boy coddling as an
Yes.
adult.
And still, like, it's like whenever I'm sad, I'm just gonna call my mom, and she's gonna make it feel all better,
Yeah,
and then
maybe,
go
like,
clean my apartment for me so that
my
I
mean wife gets upset when I say mean things, and if she was a good wife, she wouldn't have feelings about
yeah.
it.
She would just love me for me.
Yeah, she would just, like, take it. Mecca and Beljolie go to the park, and he says she probably doesn't wanna keep putting up with his actions, and he's been beating himself up about it. He says he knows he's deeply flawed and his goal was to just be the best version of himself on the show and not let the flaws show. He says he's been cocky and that's who he is. I can't help but notice that everything he's saying is about him and how bad he feels
And nothing
about
about, like,
himself.
yeah, nothing about how he made Belle feel probably
Right.
terrible.
Yeah. Well, it's the same. It's like, I guess you're going to want to leave now because I'm such a bad boy. And like, that's how it always goes. Mecca says that he does know how to treat Belle and be respectful, but he has no choice to be understanding, but to be understanding if she can't stay. Belle tells the camera she doesn't think she should have to go through all this torture first to be loved correctly, but she does think if she stays, she could kind of like help him be better. Do you think that this is a sign that she is already kind of checked out in her head? Like, I'm just here to help fix him up a little bit before the
Yeah,
process ends.
I honestly think she was in it, like, I think she did really like him. I think the recent turn of events has shifted that for her a bit, and I think she's starting to
Yeah.
realize that maybe she could help him along his way, but that he's not necessarily her person.
Yeah. Then she'll release him like a
Yeah.
wounded bird
I
that she
fixed you
helped.
a little bit.
Later, they discuss decision day, and he says Michelle and Cam are looking like the only ones on Yes Island. And Belle says Tori and Felipe and Marissa and Adam are also.
No,
Really?
no.
I don't think so.
Yeah. What? Maybe Adam and Marissa, maybe, but I feel like Marissa is
Marissa
losing
seems way
steam a
more
little bit.
checked out than
Yeah.
yeah. But we'll get to them in a minute. Uh,
But Tori and
she's
Felipe, no way.
no. Belle also says that she thinks that she and Mecca are swimming around it. They're still on the yacht cruising around Yes Island. These two love a transportation
Yes, they
metaphor.
sure do.
Mecca does a little bit pretending to be her giving her answer, in which he really stresses like how attractive she finds him and how he keeps messing up. He's like, you're probably thinking like, oh, he's so handsome, I'm so attracted to him, but like he keeps like putting his foot in his mouth. And she's like, this is what you think I'm thinking? Like, really? It's horrible. I'm getting the ick. She says she's been thinking about how he's messed up, but also the positive parts about how he's handled situations, like how he's taken accountability. She's just too generous and gives too much grace for her own good. He
Yeah.
says, I've fallen in love with who you are as a person. And he mentions the way she cares and nurtures. He says, I adore you. I care about you immensely. And he says, sometimes she'll ask why he's looking at her. And he says, I'll just be admiring. And I was like, interesting, because I remember you telling the guys that sometimes you just stare at her to try to find things that are attractive
He's
about
staring
her.
at her to be like, is she do I do like her. See, look, I like that dimple. I'm gonna look at her
Yeah.
dimple. Ooh, I like her eyes. I'm just so he's just staring at you because he's trying to find the attraction, Belle.
It's like he's doing art appreciation class. He's like, I'm really looking to try to find something I like. Like that's not what you're leading her to believe it is in this moment. And you should be looking at her just to admire. She's
She's
stunning.
stunning.
And also, I can't help but note that all of the qualities that he mentions loving about her are things she does for him. And this is a pattern with a lot of, from Caitlin to Belle and like many people on shows like this. It's just like, I love that you're so loving and nurturing. Felipe does the same thing with Tori. I love how you take care of me.
Like, no,
Like,
we women don't want to take care of their husbands. They want to feel appreciated and loved and, as Paul would
yeah.
say, seen and heard.
Yeah, as whole people.
Yes. Like, point
And
out anything else about Belle other than the fact that she's like your caretaker, you know?
right. And there's so much other stuff to say. She's also like, if you love everything that makes me me, then why don't you love me? Like, what's the distinction? Well, one kind of locks him in a way that he clearly doesn't want to be locked in.
Mm.
He wants to be able to walk it back as she can clearly tell that this is what's going on. Shawn and Nikki go out to dinner and the vibe is chummy and good, but then she brings up the conversations the women had about the men being disrespectful and points to his Seattle 10 and New York 7 comment, which she says she told them about. And Shawn asks if she remembers that right before that, she grabbed his belly fat and said, look at you. she looks sideways and says she doesn't remember, and he says he was just trying to say, "We're both not all that." Now, I feel complicated about this because
Me
you
too.
are quite literally saying that you were trying to humble her then.
Yes.
Like,
You're saying, "You humbled me, so I wanted to do the same in return." I also am kind of upset that she grabbed his belly fat and, like,
yeah,
wiggled it around, like, that is kinda hurtful, but then if she doesn't remember it, I'm like, I feel like I'd
we've seen
remember
him
doing something like
gaslight
that.
her
Yeah.
before in
Was
a
she maybe did
conflict
she
like
pat
this.
his belly like, "Look at you," like, after a big meal or something? Or did she grab his belly fat and
Right. Like, it's so hard to litigate this precise moment without seeing the scene
yeah.
because it wasn't on camera. We don't have it. And the annoying thing is that Shawn is very like, I love my dad bod, but it also seems very plausible that she just like patted his belly and was like, look at
Look
you
at
in
you.
an affectionate way. And
Yeah.
he had an insecurity that sort of he read that negatively,
Yeah.
right? And then immediately lashed out at her, and she was like, "What? Why would you say that?" It's also possible that she grabbed his belly fat and jiggled it and said, "Look at you," a little passive aggressively because we know she doesn't love a dad bod,
Yeah.
but we don't know what happened.
Yeah, we don't love body shaming though, but we
No.
also don't like I don't like tit for tat. Like, "Oh, well, then I'll humble you and tell you that you're being New York 7 if you
Yeah,
think I got a dad bod." Oh,
right. I think it also contextualizes some of we've seen this with Shawn throughout that, like, he knows that she's not as attracted to him, and so he goes to great lengths to be like, well, no one's sweating you, girl. I feel like that overall just is not a healthy way of handling this. Like, if you can't deal with the fact that she was not immediately attracted to you, that's totally valid. But you're not going to heal that in a healthy way by sticking around and trying to humble her
mhm.
in order to make her feel like equally undesired in the relationship.
Yeah, which they tend to do. They just have this dynamic that it's like, "Oh, you said this, well, then I'll say this, and
Yeah.
they have kind of noticed that they do that, and they attempt to kind of fix the situations, but yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They're an interesting couple. I never know what to expect. I'm like, "Does Nikki like
Yeah.
him? Does she not like him? Does Shawn like
Yeah.
her? Does he not like her?"
Well, and they both kind of say this during this group of episodes, like, I don't know which version of my partner I'm gonna get. Like,
Yeah.
is it gonna be the soft, loving one or the
Yes,
other
they're
one?
always on the softer side versus
Yeah. Meanwhile, Marissa is finally having a good week because she and Adam have influenza B and COVID simultaneously. And so Adam has been forced to lie on a couch and snuggle
So I'm like,
her.
so everyone else has it from the retreat, right?
I would think so,
I might
but
I might have it right now, who knows?
you caught it through the screen.
Through the screen.
I don't know how everyone else from the retreat didn't get it because we don't see anyone else being sick. Adam manages to describe being sick as feeling like he's being dragged behind his jet ski, which made me laugh so hard. He's like, you know what being sick is like? Jet skis.
No wonder Marissa hates it.
Yeah. I should have known something was wrong the second I saw them snuggling on the couch. I was like, oh, she got him to take a nap in the middle of the day. I guess she's really like, he's meeting her halfway. And it's like, no, he literally can't get off
No,
because
yeah,
he's
he's
so
ripping tea.
sick.
He's not ripping in the gym this week, just tea.
Because his body's cooked. And he is softened by this experience. He floats to her that he's willing to move to her neighborhood instead of her moving to his lake house. And the compromise will just be that she'll go to the gym with him all the time. And she says, you don't think we're too late on the compromise stuff? And he's like, no. She seems pretty skeptical. She tells the camera that part of her is hoping for a miracle. And this was the moment where I was like, oh, she doesn't think this is working out.
No, it's not
Yeah.
working out. I think she really likes him, and I think they
Yeah.
have, like, good chemistry and good vibes between them, but there's no way
Yeah.
she can't marry this guy. Like, she doesn't wanna do anything he does. Neither do
No.
I.
I almost wonder if this is a taste of like, "Oh, this is actually the pace I wanted in our relationship, and I can only have it when he's at death's door." And he's already strategizing about how much we're gonna work out when we both feel better. I would be like, "Well,
She's just
I gave it a
constantly gonna
shot."
get him sick, just sticking his toothbrush in gross spots and be like, "Oh, you don't feel good
Yeah.
again?
She's gonna be behind a new lab leak. She's
Yeah.
like, "I can't.
I'm gonna
We
go out
gotta
with
get
the
some novel
girls, but I
viruses
hope
out
you
here."
feel better."
Tori and Felipe are feeling closer than ever. Tori says the fight brought them closer. I got a little worried here that she's like on a dopamine roller coaster without realizing it. Like, I don't know if this is a pattern for her in relationships, but it certainly seems to be the case in this one, that the excitement of the fight followed by the warm and fuzzy of making up makes you feel slightly intoxicated
Yeah.
with the dopamine and the oxytocin, and you're like, "Oh, like, we're actually better than ever."
Yeah, look, we learned so much from that fight. Yeah.
Yeah. Once again, Felipe whips out a romantic gift of a wedding
This
picture.
just bothered me so much, and now everyone
Of
else is doing it too, I found.
That's because production is just they're printing off production stills, and they are giving them
He's
to
like,
these
"Try
men.
this, it worked last time."
I know. I was like, "Felipe, what if you got her a gift that wasn't provided to you by
Yeah.
production? What if you got her something else that wasn't a still that they emailed to you?"
Yeah.
And she's very touched again. This time it's a whole album. He tells her he's falling for her because of 4 things. Everything they've gone through, so the fact that he's been a bad partner and she's stuck with him. 2, because she completes him. 3, because she's more disciplined and organized than he is, and he needs that. And 4, she's overflowing with love and kindness. And I was like, wow. So we've got one really unhealthy reason, and then just 3 things that are about how she brings qualities to the table that benefit his life in a
Yes.
very concrete way. Like, she's loving to him, she's disciplined and organized on his behalf.
Felipe and Mecca just no, they're like, "Look at these women, they'll take care of us for the rest of our lives." Does it
Yeah.
matter about their personalities or anything about them? No, it just matters that they're gonna take care of us.
Yeah, it's a resume.
Yeah.
It's like, I know that you can take care of all the shit that I don't wanna deal
Mm.
with, just like my mom does, and you're very loving, so you're gonna nurture me
Yeah,
just
and you're
like my
gonna put
mom
up with all my
does.
bullshit,
Yeah,
so
but all my bullshit.
check, check, check.
Cam and Michelle go on a final date to a waterfront seafood restaurant, and then they go on, like, a Ferris wheel thing. I don't know, and he gives her a framed wedding
Yep.
photo.
This is where I was like, "Oh, it's definitely a production thing." Like, "Here, you wanna
Yeah,
give this to Michelle? Make her feel so warm and fuzzy about your wedding
yeah.
day."
Well, that's one I think we're also familiar with from The Bachelor, where it's like, "Oh, I made a scrapbook of production stills. I have a framed photo of us that's from a production still." It's like, "Oh, did you do that?"
Yeah. No.
They're worried about the upcoming distance because normally they do not live in the same place. She says she likes him more than her job, and this is just an extra push to look for a new one so they can be closer. Cam says that though he's an overthinker, he hasn't felt as emotional or freaked out about like this big life change recently. And she weeps and says they're each other's ride or dies, and she's never felt that. So they're like full steam ahead. Like, we've worked out all the issues. She tells the camera that they love each other, but it's clear they haven't said it. And she's like, maybe I should just say it first because he's never been in a relationship.
Yeah, he doesn't know what to do. He's like, "Do I say I love her?"
He's like, is this love? Who can
He
say?
loved those oysters, that's what I know.
Sometimes I think being on these shows gets people too in their heads. Like, he's literally just like, what is love? Is it this feeling? Is it that feeling? Like, does it match up to a feeling I've had in the past, or is it more or different than that? I don't know. I feel like every time I've said I love you to someone for the first time, I just like didn't think about it that
Yeah,
much.
you're
I was
just
just
like,
like, wow, I
"Okay."
really feel like I love this person. I want to say it to them.
I think they'll say it, and they'll probably be the one
Yeah.
couple that stay together.
I think they're the one couple that should stay together. And should is not as strong. Like, it would also be fine if they broke up. They're the only couple that I don't think should definitely break up. It's time for the couples to move out before decision day. Everyone is so sad to separate, and somehow Nikki and Shawn end up fighting.
Somehow.
Somehow, as she packs up and leaves, Shawn is asking her how it feels to pack up her wedding dress. And she sort of answers, and he says, well, now say that with the feeling word. Like she didn't say it in a feeling context enough. And she says, proud of taking this really hard step to go on this journey. And she starts like going on and on about like she's learned and grown in this process and she's been reflecting on him as a person. And Shawn kind of cuts her off by saying, like, oh, you don't have to give a whole speech.
She's furious. She's
She is
pissed.
so offended. And Shawn tells the camera, like, oh, I could say something like this playfully to my friends and it wouldn't be a fight. And I see that. I can see that it was meant playfully and that he didn't expect her to get upset.
But she was definitely, like, in, her train of thought. She was just trying to get
Yeah.
all these feelings out. Like, you're saying goodbye, just let her
Yeah.
say her piece.
Well,
And
you're saying I don't care to hear what you're saying about your
yeah,
feelings.
yeah. It was a little
Like,
off for Shawn to do that.
yeah. Especially because he was the one who was really pressing her to
Yeah,
describe
feeling
her
words.
feelings
And then he's like,
more.
"Oh, we're getting too into the feelings. Let's cut it off there."
Yeah, not enough, too much feeling, actually. Nikki tells Shawn that the communication she prefers is warm and empathetic, not cutting her off. Her voice is at a totally normal volume, maybe like slightly more emotion and frustration in it at this point. And Shawn says, don't scream at me. That's not going to help us.
She's not screaming. She's a little frustrated. She's angry.
She is speaking with anger in her voice. That is not
Screaming.
screaming at you,
Yeah.
Shawn.
And then she says,
Mm.
"Noted." And I would be like, "Screaming?"
The superhuman like control that she has over her tone and her emotions at this moment, I was like, wow, I'm truly in awe. But I think, I don't know, I really felt in this moment like to imply that she was aggressive or angry in this moment when she was expressing herself, like as a Black woman on TV. I don't think that that was a very considerate response at all from Shawn. And it's also clear that she's extremely aware that she has to clamp down on that impression
Mm,
immediately
yeah.
and be so composed. And then he's sort of like, well, how do we get out of this? Should we take out a tool?
Yeah,
She
from the
says, well,
toolbook that we've been learning from.
she says, what tool do you want to pull out? And he says, what about the one where you name the feeling and we like validate and process it together? We've never seen this step in their discourse together. This was
What,
wild.
right? It seems like that's how they've been working their way up, is, like, truly using whatever the therapists have taught them to help them in these, like, situations, to bring down the
Yeah.
conflict.
And they take that very, like, clinical,
Mm,
almost professional approach, and I really felt in this moment the way that they are just 2 type A, competitive high achiever types, and they've kind of channeled their ego battle into trying to be the best at using therapy tools. Like, instead of, like, just raging at each other, they're like, "Well, what if I could be better at using the therapy tool? What if I could be the best ever at using the therapy tool? Who's going to reach for the therapy tool
to
first?
first.
Like, who's going to
Mhm.
do it the right way?" And so she expresses that she felt frustrated that he cut her off, and she wants him to not control her authentic self during a sensitive moment. And she says his question felt like a therapist or a coworker. And I'm like, yeah, this whole conversation has
Yeah.
felt like
I was like,
therapists who are
"You
coworkers.
guys are talking in therapy talk at the office." Like,
Yeah. Even if 2 therapists work together, I would be surprised to hear them speak to each other in quite such a
"Yeah, did
therapized
you use the
way.
tools today?"
Sean says his intent was to truly understand how she feels, and he apologizes for how it came off. And she accepts, but the vibe has fully cooled. She's more conflicted than ever. She tells the camera that she doesn't know which Sean she'll get if she says yes. I think this is the death knell. Like,
Yeah,
if
I'm
you're,
like, crazy way to leave before decision
yeah,
day, like,
like you don't have a solid base to
no.
go on.
You're gonna
And
be
then,
just, like, ruminating over this what just happened instead of
yeah,
remembering everything else. At least I would. I'd be like, "Well, it's not gonna work."
100%. I do think that they could have a friendship. Like, I could see them if she expects less from him and if he expects less from her because they're just friends. I could see them being able to still enjoy the things they like about their
Yes, like,
connection. But,
and
like,
I do have to say, like, all their dates have always seemed to be my favorites. Like, they're out to dinner, they love to eat and drink wine together, and, like, I could totally see them palling
yeah.
around. I don't see their own romance, but
Yeah, and trying to be that for each other has made them both sort of, like,
yeah.
brittle, I think. They're not coming off well. It's decision day at this point, and I can't believe we're already to a decision
I
day.
know. Look at us, we made it through a season of Married at First Sight. Well,
I
almost.
know. Soon we get to find out the answers that they're going to give. First, we see Tori and Felipe gearing up for the big conversation to tee up next week. Tori is very conflicted, of course. Felipe has mostly positive feelings because his mom loves Tori, and she's never liked any of his exes. Also, she's like the wife you'd create for him in a lab.
Yeah.
Tori, you need to get away
Get
from this man.
away. This is what we've been saying the whole time. It's just he's got mommy problems.
Major. Felipe waits by the water for her with a bouquet of dahlias, which are very pretty, as I love
Yes,
dahlias.
they are so pretty.
He's ready to convince her that this is real, except he's not ready. For one, he's in sneakers and she's in a gown, and his speech sucks.
Oh
I
my
was
god,
like,
I was
"You're
so
ready? This is what you're ready with? Are you fucking serious?"
I didn't even know what he was saying. I was like, "What is happening?" It's the worst, like, ugh,
This is like
Felipe.
Felipe to the he's like, "I'm gonna show you that I choose you." And it's like he plans one date that he enjoys with
Yeah,
her and gives her a production still.
yeah,
He's like, "I'm ready to convince her." And he's like, "I got dahlias and prepared nothing."
yeah. He
Like,
was just, like, talking out of his ass.
ugh. Yeah, like she shows up and he clearly expects her to be kind of like moved in some way, and he's not prepared to have to talk as much as he
Yeah.
does. He kicks it off by saying he's never made a 100% decision in his life and everything requires a leap of faith. She has everything he could think to want in a wife in spades. The qualities that he names, of course, are all just about how she services his life. He's like, "You embrace my family, you take care of people. I wake up at 11 and you bring me breakfast." Even
Yeah, I
though
hated that. He's like, "You bring me fucking breakfast." I can't believe it.
I know he's like
I
explaining
don't
to her all the
deserve it.
work he expects her to do for him
Yeah,
for the rest of their lives. Like, what are you saying to her that's going to convince her that this is real?
yeah.
What are you going to offer to her life? What do you appreciate about her that has no utility for you? The breakfast thing was crazy to me. I was
I
like, one
know.
of her biggest fears is that you're just going to lay in bed being useless while she's taking care
Care
of
of you.
everything.
Yeah. And that's what he expects. That's what he wants.
Yeah. Her face is still
Yeah.
as a stone. It doesn't move a ripple during all of this.
I knew something was up because I was like, "Something's going on here." Not even a little
Yeah.
smirk.
She says, "I don't even know what to say." And then we see her tell the camera that after they moved out, she and Felipe had a conversation where he dropped a bomb on her. The conversation was off camera. She says, "It seems cruel and heartless." She's very hurt. She doesn't say what it was. Then we go back to the two of them standing by the water, and she says, "I really liked you." Past tense.
Mm.
But I think it's important to be honest. Do you think that what you've told me is normal? And Felipe kind of sputters and then says he regrets that heavily. What is
What
going on? What is your theory? What did he
what did he
say? Like, what does he
say?
regret? What's going on?
I feel like he just, like, doubled down on, how he wants to just hook up with other people and be single and
Yeah.
free. It's gotta be something like that,
Yeah.
or just, like, his urges, his sexual urges, something in that vein. I don't know. Or
Right.
maybe he already did. Like, maybe he was telling her, like, "I hit it off with someone I met last night at my restaurant."
Right. Yeah. I think my theories were like he requested an open marriage.
Mhm.
He disclosed some other sort of sexual interest or that he would consider to be a need in their marriage that is very outre in some way, very unusual. And she feels like his expectation is that she will participate or accommodate that. He's been cheating during the whole experience was another one of my theories. Um,
Ooh, the
I saw
open
people
marriage one was good. I could
yeah, well,
see
this
that.
because there's something about it where I'm like I saw people speculating like, "Oh, did he reveal he had a child or something like that?" It seems like you wouldn't say, "I regret that heavily
Yeah.
about your child."
No.
I guess it could be like, "I regret waiting to tell it," but, like, the way they're talking about it, it seems more like something sexual or
Mhm.
polyamory related, and that he's saying, like, "I wish I hadn't asked you for that because that was inappropriate."
Yeah. I think that's a good guess. 'Cause he's gonna be
Wouldn't it
like, "I really wanna be with you, I wanna marry you, but I also wanna be with other women, so, like, can we have an open marriage?"
Yeah, let's just have it all. Why not? Why can't I just ask to have it all? You gotta give me grace, okay? Because this
Yeah.
is who I am. I'm not a bad guy. You just have to take some time to
But just
get used
imagine
to
how
it.
happy I'll be if I, like, go out with other women and hook up
Like,
and, like, come back to you and, like, I'm fulfilled, you know?
and you'll always be there to
You could
bring
just
me
make me
breakfast in
breakfast.
bed. I, like, cannot deal with this man.
Oh, I hate
I
him.
am really eager because there are lots of things, like, I don't wanna say all that to say that it's bad to be in an open marriage or to have sort of unusual sexual interests. But to bring it to her off camera the night before decision day and drop it on her like that, there are many things that I think are totally fine that are not totally fine
Yeah.
to introduce in that way to your spouse.
Yeah, you could've talked about this, like, the whole time.
Yeah. Like,
You know he was just, like, sitting there thinking about what he was gonna do and say, and then he was like, "I wonder if she'd go for this."
right.
But, yeah, it's
Maybe
gotta be something with open marriage, sexual
yeah.
needs, wants.
I'm assuming we'll get an answer next week, but if not, I'm gonna be very frustrated. I need to know what's going on here.
Yeah.
But, they leave us on this tantalizing cliffhanger. All I can say is I'm glad this happened because clearly there is no way Tori is going to say yes now, and I have seen screen recordings of Felipe's very active dating app accounts, so we know he's back out on the streets, and
Oh my
I love
gosh.
that for Tori.
Yeah. She shoulda ended it in the cabin in the woods, you know?
Yeah, well, we all have a wobble sometimes, and I'm convinced they got to the right place in the end. So next week we'll be back with decision day. Very excited to see as many of these couples break up as possible. And on that note, that's it for this episode of Love to See It with Emma and Claire. If you're watching this on YouTube, remember to like and subscribe to our channel.
Love to See It is a presentation of Odyssey. The show is produced by us, Claire Fallon, Lee Blickley, and Emma Gray. Our production assistant is Tatiana Kenny-Smith, who also edits our video. This episode's audio was edited by John Bahar. Our theme music is by Tamar Haviv, and our art is by Aaron Nestor.
If you like the show, please follow us, rate us 5 stars, leave a review, and of course, tell all of your friends about our show, even if it's just in an off-camera conversation at a vulnerable moment.
If you want to get in touch, you can email the show at claireandemmapod@gmail.com.
You can find us on TikTok at Love to See It Pod and Instagram at Claire and Emma Pod. You can find our newsletter, Rich Text, on Patreon at patreon.com/richtext.
I'm also on social media at LeeBZ.
And I'm on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at Claire E. Fallon. Special thanks to the team at Odyssey, Eric Donnelly, Peter Arriaga, Kate Rose, Moira Curran, Melissa Wester, and Hillary Schiff.
We'll be back soon with Decision Day.
Can you keep